Welcome back to the channel. This is Trendy Storm and you are watching first part of What If Naruto Was Trained by Gods of Dragon Ball. If you enjoy this video, please like, share and subscribe to this channel. Now wasting no more time, let's start this story.
To fix a dimensional barrier breach, Kibito and the Supreme Kai had journeyed to the edge of the Kai's realm. The two started working to seal the rift. After carefully examining the tear, both were floating peacefully in a state of meditation. The work was nearly finished when the Supreme Kai's eyes widened and he suddenly sensed something. The Supreme Kai yelled, "Kibito! Someone's in there, we must get them out." Impossible. King Yema's men investigated this. It wasn't a forced tear, just result of an old extinct galaxy collapsing, replied Kibito. I just sensed them arriving now. A tear from an adjacent realm opened quickly and they were sucked into this one before the breach closed. Rescue them before I complete the repair, instructed the Supreme Kai. Kibito said, "Right away, sir," and disappeared into thin air. He seemed to discover a blonde-haired teenager floating through the world-to-world rift. Unconscious, the boy's body appeared severely burned, and his orange and black clothing was tattered. Before hefting the young man over his shoulder and teleporting out of the rift, Kibito said, "You were very lucky that the Supreme Kai sensed you. You surely would have died if left here after the tear close." Kibito exclaimed, "I've got him, sir," as he stood beside Supreme Kai outside the rift. "Very good, Kibito. Now let me finish this here." Supreme Kai closed the rift with a final burst of energy. The boy Kibito was holding over his shoulder caught his attention as he turned. The Supreme Kai thought, "I sense a tremendous amount of latent energy in this boy. We must investigate this." Kibito asked, "Master, should I drop him off with one of your subjects?" The Supreme Kai retorted, "No, Kibito, we will take him with us. I must investigate this boy myself." Kibito answered, "Sir, he is still mortal, we couldn't possibly bring him." The Supreme Kai disconnected him. "Kibito, on my initial scan of this boy, I felt latent energy that rivaled the beast I sealed away several millenniums ago. Perhaps we have found a counter if the monster should ever be released again." Kibito stumbled, his eyes growing as big as dinner plates. "Yes, sir." After that, the two vanished from view and reappeared on the planet of the Supreme Kai. After placing the boy on the ground, Kibito got down on his knees and started tending to his wounds. "Sir, there are conflicting energies within his body. I will be unable to awaken him until they come into harmony," said Kibito. The Almighty replied, "That is fine, Kibito. We can scan his mind to find the source of the problem after his physical injuries are healed." "Yes, sir," Kibito answered. Kibito changed the boy's ragged clothes with a dark blue version of one of their outfits after the healing process was finished, which took a few minutes. As he and Kibito assumed a meditative posture, the Supreme Kai said, "The first step is to scan his mind. Not only may we find the reason behind this state, we'll find about him as well." Before long, they were reminded of the young man's most recent memory. Rewind. The Gero Mazo statue pulsed with power, and the ground rumbled in the vast expanse of the main Akatsuki hideout. "What have you done?" cried Madara, "You stubborn fool. Invaded your base and sealed you inside to ensure your destruction," replied Naruto. "Naruto, I won't let you end my ambition. Konoha will be destroyed." Sasuke was furious. Madara launched his Mangekyo Sharingan technique, only to be stunned when it failed. "Forget about that, you imbecile, we must retreat," he yelled. "What is this? Why can't I open the time-space rift?" Naruto stood proudly, his fist clenched, and his eyes defiant. "Say hello to the final gift of Itachi. The power to block your time, space ninjutsu. Since the founding of our village you have been meddling and destroying lives left and right. The Uchiha clan and its corruption ends here. Demonic Sage final technique. Self-destruction," he exclaimed. Madara, Sasuke, and the other Akatsuki could only watch in horror as Naruto's body began to glow red before he unleashed a wave of red energy that engulfed the entire base and caused the Gero Mazo, which held the other Biju, to explode a second time. Flashback end. The two relived his entire life from this memory, including events like the Kyuubi's ceiling that he was unable to access because he was too young. "This boy has one of the most noble souls I have ever met. To sacrifice oneself for an ungrateful world, he is truly a hero of the highest caliber," said the Supreme Kai. "Bound together at birth with the fox, the willpower to withstand the temptations of its power is astounding, but his body was not meant to use demonic power," Kibito replied. That may have been true before, but the boy's body over time began to adapt to the demonic energies. The beast seems to have attempted to modify its vessel to either ensure its survival or simply take the body as its own. At some point it would have worked, but the seal made the process occur too slowly, battled the Supreme Kai. "I see we can accelerate the process somewhat so that his body can handle the demonic energies," Kibito replied. The Supreme Kai said, "Yes, we will also take the beast's soul and cast it into Makai. Let's begin now." After standing a few feet away from the body, the two extended their arms. Before long, Naruto's body hovered in midair, surrounded by a purple aura. After a few minutes, his facial whisker lines became slightly sharper, and his body's muscle mass grew. The Supreme Kai noted, "It appears the facial markings were not from being the vessel, they were his own to begin with. Now that we have modified the body, we must go inside to remove the soul of the beast and cast it into Makai." The two disappeared in a burst of light and resurfaced in front of the seal inside the sewer-like mindscape. For such a primitive people to create such a technique is impressive, despite how barbaric it is, said the Kibito. The Supreme Kai retorted, "This young man's willpower is what truly holds this beast back." The Kyuubi's eyes opened from behind the gate, and it growled, "Who dares enter my domain? Demon, you're lucky your vessel was found by the Supreme Kai. You will now gain your freedom and the boy will be rid of you once and for all." Kibito responded with defiance. "As soon as I am free from this cage I will devour everything in my path, starting with you," said the Kyuubi. "You will be doing no such thing. The boy's body has become accustomed to holding your power. Your power will remain here and you will be cast into the realm of Makai with nothing left but your tainted soul," declared the Supreme Kai. Then he lifted his hand and cast a spell on the Kyuubi. The Kyuubi roared, "You can't do this to me. This is my power." Before its body swelled up and it covered its mouth with its claws, a huge red orb pushed the Kyuubi's power up through its throat and out of its mouth. Despite its best efforts to repress it back down inside its core, the size of the Kyuubi decreased to that of a typical fox once the procedure was finished. The fox cried out, "No," as the Supreme Kai cast another spell that exiled it to the Makai realm. The seal and the sewer vanished with another pulse of his power, revealing a forest with a blue ball of energy lighting up the sky. The blue orb in the sky then joined the red orb in front of them as it rose. The two then disappeared from the mindscape and returned to reality, saying, "Our work here is done, the rest will occur naturally over time." Naruto started to awaken shortly after he returned to the real world. The two did nothing but watch him as he arrived. Muttering random gibberish in typical Naruto fashion, he spoke the first thing that sprang to mind when he looked up. "Is everyone in the afterlife that ugly? Then, hey, a fishman?" As said Kai laughed in amusement, Kibito quickly scolded the blonde for showing disrespect for the Supreme Kai. Leaving a tick mark on his forehead, the Supreme then went on to tell him what had happened, how he had been saved, and what they had done to him. As though he understood everything that was happening, Naruto just gave a wise nod. Next, the cards were placed on the table by the Supreme Kai. "I have a proposition for you. Long ago I sealed away a great evil inside a planet. If this being were ever to be released, it could mean the end of all life as we know it. I believe you have the potential to defeat this being. After some training and preparation I want to send you there. You can consider it a mission." Naruto is scratching his head. "So let me get this straight, I'm not dead. You pulled me out of a dimensional rift, removed the fox from my gut, left me a bunch of its power, and all you want me to do is go guard some planet in return." He went on, "If I find a good ramen stand there, I'll get people to start worshipping you." After getting the Supreme Kai's nod, they both have their faces buried in the ground. At this point a shocked Supreme Kai said, "That's it? I figured you'd be more inclined to find a way to return home." He sighed, "I already made peace with my old life when I resigned myself to self-destructing to stop those guys from taking over the world. Besides, I could be an even bigger legend. Naruto Uzumaki, intergalactic ninja." Kibito asked, "But, you're part demon now, surely that has to be startling?" With a mad smile on his face, Naruto rubbed his hands together and shrugged, asking, "Who cares? Now you said something about training." Supreme Kai, ecstatic that his plan was being realized, exclaimed, "Yes. Kibito, take us to the Grand Kai of Earth's sector." Right away, Kibito touched them both, and the three disappeared. When they first appeared on the Grand Kai's planet, Naruto stood there in a state of shock before bouncing up and down with joy. "You have to teach me how to do that," Kibito grinned and said, "Maybe later." The three of them were standing outside the enormous white palace when an elderly man in jeans and a denim jacket abruptly entered through the front door. He held a boombox in his hand and listened to rock music as he danced. Naruto blurted, "Pretty fly for an old guy. Be respectful of the Grand Kai," Kibito cried. "I take it as a compliment that the young ones still think I'm the essence of cool. Supreme Kai, what can I do you for?" replied the Grand Kai. He was then given a detailed explanation of the whole situation by the Supreme Kai. The Grand Kai looked at Naruto at this point before continuing. "I see, yes, a very rare find indeed. No problem, I'll have North Kai whip him into shape. Kibito, if you could go retrieve him for us, he'll know the most about the current situation on Earth," said the Supreme Kai. Kibito said, "Right away, sir. and then disappeared. He reappeared with King Kai a few seconds later. King Kai bowed and said, "Supreme Kai, sir, I'm honored." "Please North Kai, the honor is all mine since I have come to ask you a favor. Kibito has debriefed you on the situation?" "Yes, he has. He must not know about Goku and the others. They could use extra help with those androids coming. Let's see if he can be of any help. Let's see, Naruto. Let me get a good reading of you." King Kai turned to face the blonde, who stood impatiently with his antennae perked up, before he spoke once more. "Just in time for those androids. Yeah, I can whip him into shape, get him ready to go in, say 2.5 years? Superb," said the Supreme Kai. "What, how is that possible? He should require a much lengthier amount of training time," said Kibito. "We will have to modify it a bit, but his trademark technique, the shadow clone, is the key. Everything the clone learns, the user learns." Naruto grinned and said, "I can complete more than 100 years of training in this amount of time." When King Kai raised his hands in the air, 4 tiny rings of energy materialized around Naruto's wrists and ankles. "Don't get too cocky. I'm going to have to rebuild you from the basics. The Earth will be a fine place for him to reside. One of my pupils resides on that planet, and he should be able to help him adapt now. First things first." Before he could fall to the ground, they clamped down on him. "I want you to forget everything you ever learned about chakra. I'm going to teach you how to use your purely physical energy. First step, figure out how to stand up." A struggling Naruto snarled, "Why would I want to do that? Some of my most destructive techniques are from chakra." Just think of it this way, using chakra gave you more precision but less power. However, if your enemy is strong enough, precision won't matter. You need to overpower him. From your memories, I deduced that the strongest opponent you fought could level an entire village? Naruto smiled. "Well, I'm going to make you strong enough to fight guys who can level an entire planet." Naruto suddenly forced himself to his knees after gaining a maniacal gleam in his eye at this statement. King Kai shook his head and thought, kids are so easy to motivate these days. Before he and Kibito disappeared from the scene, the Supreme Kai waved. "Well then, good luck to you. We'll be back later to check up your progress." After reactivating his boombox, the Grand Kai danced his way back into the mansion. King Kai muttered, "Speaking of children, I should break the good news to Goku." When the overseer from the other world connected with his most influential pupil on Earth, his antennae pricked up. "Hi, Goku. I have wonderful news." King Kai used telepathy to communicate. "Hi, King Kai. It's been a while. Were you able to find someone to assist us in combating the androids?" Goku answered. "No, I just switched to Geico and saved a ton of money on my auto insurance." "Bawahahaha," King Kai made a joke. "They have auto insurance in other worlds?" Goku asked, completely bewildered. Who could have known? "Tough crowd," said King Kai, shaking his head. "Ignore that. You can fight the androids with my help. In particular, the Supreme Kai wants to move one of his warriors to the Earth, which is my sector." The Saiyan was drawn to this and exclaimed, "Wow, it's unbelievable. Is there also a Supreme Kai?" King Kai retorted, "There are a lot more Kais, but that's not important. Long ago, the Supreme Kai buried a huge source of evil inside the Earth to keep it safe from anyone who might come looking for it. He wants to send his man there." But, Goku reminded him, "We already have a lot of people protecting the Earth." "I am already aware of that. But it's been a long time since the Supreme Kai visited the planet. I assumed you would need all the assistance you could get with these androids, and he might just keep him here if he knew about all of you. In addition, this man was personally chosen by the Supreme, so he must be extremely talented. A warrior sent by the Supreme Kai must be incredibly strong." Convinced Goku, "I'm eager to battle him. The next challenge is what you Saiyans are constantly searching for. He must complete his training here under my supervision before the androids arrive, which is still 2.5 years away. You and a couple of the others will be invited to meet him once I've whipped him into reasonable fighting form." "I think it sounds good," an enthusiastic Goku responded. Piccolo questioned, "What did King Kai want?" "Apparently, he found somebody to help us out with the androids," Goku was informed. "Who could he find that would be strong enough to help?" inquired Gohan. "There's actually someone who is King Kai's boss, a Supreme Kai. The Supreme Kai discovered this mystery fighter and wants to train him to defend against some great evil he sealed away," Goku responded. That put Piccolo on edge. "You're telling me there's a Supreme Kai? And he found this guy? Are we reviving some dead warrior with the Dragon Balls or something?" Goku nodded. "Nope. I'm pretty sure he's alive. The Supreme thinks he's loaded with potential. I don't think you'd say that sort of thing about a dead guy. Looks like the future might be changing after all." As he examined the images from the latest blow in Naruto's prank war with West Kai, King Kai couldn't help but exclaim, "Hee hee hee. Ha ha he. Oh, these are hilarious. I know one thing. Naruto, you are by far my greatest student in the art of comedy. Naruto declared war in an effort to force the short Kai to comply with his demands after the Kai refused to teach him the Thunder Flash attack. Since then, King Kai has accumulated more blackmail material, the most recent of which was the outcomes of Naruto's harem jutsu. In order to get South Kai to teach Naruto defensive techniques and to use his ability to raise Naruto's training weights on a regular basis, he found this material to be very helpful. Additionally, Naruto somehow obtained pictures of East without her wig and used them as leverage for speed training naturally. Neither West nor East Kai were aware that the Grand Kai, who was thrilled to have someone liven up Otherworld after all these years, was funding Naruto's antics. After Naruto arrived in Otherworld and began his training, 2 years went by in a flash. He adapted to the training effortlessly, outperforming King Kai in terms of strength and ability. Every few days, the boy appeared to come up with a new attack, but 80% of them ended up being ineffective or simply stronger versions of previous ones. After the teen's 31st Rasengan, he had lost count. At present, 100 Naruto clones practiced his most recent super secret technique, while the real Naruto performed his appropriately named Green Beast workout that involved several hundred punches and kicks using his recently upgraded weights from South Kai. He now wore an orange belt and undershirt, a black fighting GI, and black boots with orange toes. Additionally, he retired his forehead protector and replaced it with a standard orange headband. King Kai called for his test fighter, Goku, after he finished going through the pictures and realized that today was the day he was going to test Naruto. Now is the moment. All right. We're en route, Goku telepathically responded. Goku, Krillin, Piccolo, and Gohan all appeared out of nowhere. An explosion almost knocked the quartet off their feet as soon as they got there. An angry King Kai yelled, "Naruto, move farther out when training those unstable techniques." "Sorry, King Kai," exclaimed the Naruto group as they picked it up and stepped back. King Kai complained, "Geez kid, these days, all about the fancy explosive techniques. Boy, that is some kind of technique. The things I could do with 100 copies of myself," Krillin thought. King Kai, Piccolo, and Gohan all snickered when Goku said, "Yeah, get dumped by girls in the hundreds." Krillin shot back, "At least I wouldn't consume the entire world's food supply." The real Naruto briefly paused his workout before continuing, saying, 100 clones is nothing. When I really cut loose I can make over 2,000. The words, TT 2000, left Krillin speechless. Piccolo muttered, "Talk about your one-man army. So how strong is he, King Kai? I can't really sense his power," asked Goku. "Oh, that's right, he's using those energy cuffs, Naruto. You can release them," instructed King Kai. As he throws the weights away, leaving a crater in the ground, Naruto says, "Well, let me slip out of these weights too then." Krillin inquired, "Geez, how much weight was he using?" King Kai answered, "He usually warms up at about 4 tons per limb." Piccolo said, "That is a pretty good warm-up." Goku nodded in agreement. Krillin and Gohan simply gazed at them as though they were crazy. After gathering himself in midair, Naruto extended his arms sideways. Each arm and leg had 4 golden rings. He yelled, "Release," as the 4 rings broke and his actual power level became apparent. Piccolo said, "Impressive, he's about as strong as Vegeta." With a sly grin, Goku began stretching, saying, "Can't you sense it, Piccolo? He's holding back. He would have whipped Frieza no problem." As Piccolo put it, he couldn't be that strong. That would mean he's a Super Saiyan. Krillin joked, "Well, he's definitely not normal." King Kai snorted in amusement and muttered, "He's nothing close to normal. They should have a great chance against these androids if he can compete with a Super Saiyan." Goku leapt to his feet and faced Naruto, who had let his clones loose, as the two fighters assessed one another. As he changed his preferred stance, which was derived from the frog katas he learned after becoming a sage, Naruto said with an eager smile, "The strongest warrior on earth. Let's see what you've got." Before launching himself at Naruto, Goku replied with a smile of his own. He delivered 2 blows, but Naruto's blocking forearms stopped them. Naruto then delivered a roundhouse kick, which Goku easily parries. Goku's fist went through an afterimage as he punched once more. From Goku's blind spot, Naruto tries a vertical kick, but it also passes through an afterimage. With each blow deflected or evaded by the other, the two vanished and resurfaced in a flurry of punches and kicks. They abruptly resurfaced on the ground, both hands clasped together as they attempted to use brute force to subdue the other. A second Naruto attacked him from behind, and just as Goku was beginning to overwhelm him and push him back, he abruptly leaned back at an almost impossible angle to avoid a spinning kick. Together, The two Narutos launched an attack that put Goku on the defensive, but the Saiyan quickly took advantage of a weakness and gave each Naruto a forceful blow. To his astonishment, both blondes rose in a cloud of smoke. Goku sharpened his senses in search of Naruto, but he was startled at the last second when he was knocked into the air by a fist that rose from the ground. He was suddenly pinned to the ground by 4 Narutos, each of whom grabbed a limb. "Odama Rasengan!" he exclaimed as he looked up to see the real Naruto hurling a huge spiraling ball of energy at him. In order to escape the clones, Goku flared his energy and sent out a blast of energy that caused Naruto's attack to explode in midair. The two fighters looked at each other admiringly after the blast's dust had settled. With a chuckle on his face, Goku questioned, "Good enough warm-up?" "Yeah, let's turn it up." Naruto pumped his fist enthusiastically in response. In order to match the aura that accompanied the Super Saiyan transformation, Goku channeled his power and roared as his hair turned golden and his muscles grew throughout his body. "That's pretty impressive. Now watch this," Naruto exclaimed, striking a ridiculous pose that would have made Jiraiya proud. "Now you will see what makes all men tremble in fear, and all the ladies want to be near. It is renowned from the east to the west as simply being the very best. Behold, the legendary power of Naruto Uzumaki, Tada!" "Stop goofing around," King Kai commanded. Fine, Naruto complained after settling into a standard stance. He channeled his power, turning his eyes and aura from blue to red. His teeth developed into fangs, and his nails and gained slit pupils took on the appearance of claws. His whisker lines widened and thickened, and his blonde hair grew slightly longer, pointed upwards, and became even more spiky. They all felt that there was a hint of malice in his energy. He said, "Feels good to cut loose. Haven't had too many chances to go full power since I've been here. Don't exactly have a cool name for this like you. I just call it my demon form." His voice became raspier and deeper as he spoke. A slightly alarmed Krillin stumbled. "You know, after dealing with Piccolo all these years, meeting a real demon isn't that scary." With a sidelong glance at King Kai, Piccolo dismissed him and said, "So that's what you meant by nothing close to normal. He's from the Makai realm." "He's not from there, but you could say that is where he inherited his power from." And what it truly meant was the fact that at this stage he's only tapping into a fraction of his true potential, responded King Kai. As the two warriors resumed their battle, their conversation was cut off by the enormous power output they were now producing. The two separated themselves and launched powerful energy attacks. Choosing to accompany the Super Kamehameha, Goku said, "Kamehameha." A huge red ball of energy appeared in front of his hand, crackling with black electricity as Naruto launched one of his new attacks, sticking his right arm straight out with the palm flat and his left hand around his right wrist. Thunder Dragon Wave. Before the dust cleared, the two fighters reappeared in the middle of the smoke, engaged in a furious exchange of punches and kicks as he unleashed the blast. The head of the dragon formed at the head of the wave as it streaked through the air, meeting Goku's attack head on. The two blasts fought for dominance as both fighters poured in their energy before the beams suddenly exploded. As a Super Saiyan, he's really keeping up with Dad. This is incredible, Gohan exclaimed in amazement. Yes, watch them go. Krillin cheered with the area trembling from the shockwaves. The two warriors were now exchanging thunderous blows at high speed, and they started to power up large energy attacks once more before King Kai's cries stopped them. "Cease. That's sufficient to know," he said. "I don't want you two to destroy the Grand Kai's planet." The two warriors sighed as their battle was broken and turned off. "That was amazing. Even you were dead. I'd never thought it was even possible for someone other than another Super Saiyan to match a Super Saiyan," Krillin exclaimed as the two fighters drew closer. "Not exactly even," shrugged Naruto. "He was holding back a little more power." "Yes, but you have remarkable endurance. You put a lot of energy into that blast, and it had no effect whatsoever," Goku declared. "How powerful are these androids, then?" Naruto inquired. "We don't know exactly, but they supposedly stronger than a Super Saiyan and have infinite energy," replied Piccolo. King Kai added, "In a straight-up fight, the odds are still in their favor." "That's true, but who says we have to fight fairly when the chips fall?" A smirking Naruto answered. They decided to gather everyone at Capsule Corp to introduce them to their new comrade, and they first stopped at Goku's house to pick up Chi-Chi, but before they could even reach the door, she stormed out with a frying pan in hand. King Kai had decided that Naruto needed to get acquainted with the Earth, so he sent him back with Goku and the gang to stay for about a week before returning to cap off his training. "Mister, where have you been?" 4 hours ago, Gohan was supposed to be at home studying. "It's unbelievable how irresponsible you are. We ended up a GREEDING. Don't you care about our son's education?" Chi-Chi yelled, gathering momentum as she advanced on the rapidly frightened Goku. Naruto thought, She's even scarier than the old hag when she was pissed off, with a wince. Before Naruto made the decision to save his new friend from his furious wife, Chi-Chi brought frying up as a form of punishment for her husband, and the others could only watch in horror. You see, the reason they were away for so long was because they came to see me in order to teach Gohan a crucial study method, told Naruto. Did we? Gohan, Goku, Krillin, and Piccolo all blurted in shock. Yes, you are aware of the shadow clone method. You see, Goku brought Gohan to see me because he felt terrible about having to take him away from his studies. You can make several copies of yourself using this method, and the user will receive all of the knowledge the copy gains in order to compensate for the time he spends training. Gohan can study 3 times as much at once, excitedly, Naruto said. The fact that Naruto pulled that one out of his ass astounded them. You do give a damn about Gohan's education, Goku. This didn't last long because she then launched into a new tirade about the potential she could accomplish with Gohan's studies. This is great, I can revamp the entire curriculum schedule, she screamed. Now bear hugging her husband, I can guide him towards several degrees because he lacks focus on just one. Krillin thought, that's what I call genius under pressure. Goku thought, nice save, Naruto, I'm glad King Kai sent you back with us. Gohan thought joyfully, this is great, I can now study without actually having to study, and not having to study constantly. I owe you one, Naruto, nice save. After Chi-Chi returned inside, Goku said. Do you realize what just happened, guys? He put a stop to the impending disaster. Krillin blurted, and Goku clamped his hands over his mouth. Stop. We might never be able to do this again. If she finds out, you can simply share a plethora of study strategies with Gohan. It's unbelievable that we didn't consider it earlier, Piccolo remarked. Naruto shuddered and said, at least she doesn't have monstrous super strength, eh? When she's coming right after you with that female or a doom, you tend to forget everything except bracing yourself for the pain, and there's no apprentice to blame either. It is compensated for by the pan. Goku scratched the back of his head and muttered, I still don't know what that thing is made of. Perhaps it holds the secret to overcoming the androids. They all burst out laughing when Gohan made the joke. The women had been engrossed in baby talk in Trunks' nursery room, so the inmates were running the asylum. All of the Earth's special forces, with the exception of Vegeta, had assembled at Capsule Corp. They were all enjoying themselves while eating, taking a break from their demanding training and the tension of the impending threat to the planet. Telling stories about his experiences as a ninja and his time spent in the otherworld over the past few years, Naruto had blended in with the group with ease. So right as I show, he just looked at me in horror before shrieking and hiding behind his father, yelling, Save me, father. The golden monkey is it? As King Kai instructed. I choose to change into a giant golden monkey. And Frieza instantly passes out. His father even made fun of him. Before Goku can add, oh man, that is too much, the room bursts into laughter that brings to mind the scene on Namek where I'm facing Frieza and ready to start the battle of my life when I hear Krillin remark, even with the new transformation, I still can't tell, is Frieza a guy or a girl? I don't know. His voice got even more girlish than before. Gohan responds, perhaps he is both. I nearly burst out laughing so hard that I immediately lost the battle. The room was filled with the thunderous sound of laughter once more. The following few months flew by, and after King Kai wished his new student luck, Naruto teleported back to Earth outside Goku's house. Soon after, the father-son pair walked outside to meet Naruto and Piccolo, with Chi-Chi following closely behind. Will you all be able to stay a little while longer for lunch? Chi-Chi begged. Gohan said, sorry, Mom, but we have to go, goodbye, Chi-Chi, Goku said. After noticing the anxious expression in her eyes, Naruto reassured her, saying, don't worry, Miss Chi-Chi, the Green Man and I will make sure they get home safely and sound. Let's get this done. As the quartet soared through the air, Goku said with assurance. They won't know what hit them, those androids, Naruto shouted as they sped off in the direction of South City. Krillin was encountered by the foursome of Gohan, Goku, Naruto, and Piccolo on the way to the island, where they were met by Yamcha, Tien, and Bulma with baby Trunks, who were waiting for them on the mountaintop overlooking the entire island. Hi everyone over here. As they touched down, Yamcha waved and yelled, I told you it was them, Tien. It's unbelievable. As he landed, a tense Krillin muttered, the day of judgment has finally arrived. All our training for this moment, the only question is, was it enough? Said Tien. Well, keep in mind that in the alternate timeline, I was already dead. Furthermore, Naruto never showed up to assist in that alternate timeline. I think we'll prevail, Goku said, boosting the spirits of the anxious combatants. When Goku said, Naruto saw Piccolo frowning, what's bothering you? Things might have changed because the timeline has been tainted given that Goku died before the androids change. I believe it's safe to assume that the attack will take place today. Piccolo reasoned. They might be stronger or there might be more. Not really important. Naruto pounded his fist into his palm and retorted, I won't stop until they're nothing more than scrap heap in a junkyard. Now you sound like Vegeta, a smirking Goku said. Bulma, speaking of Vegeta, has he returned yet? Yeah, with the baby I lost track of him and now I'm actually worried that he hasn't turned up in so long, she responded with a scowl. He'll be present, Piccolo said. A guy like that wouldn't pass up a fight like this. Yajirobe arrived in his hovercar, interrupting their thoughts. Yajirobe tossed Goku a bag of sensu beans and said, delivery from Korin, he thought you might need them. Yajirobe, thank you. Will you stick around and assist us in battling the androids? Asked Goku to give Bulma the beans so she could keep them safe. Nope, I'll let the crazy people like you handle the hero stuff. The fat man shouted as he drove off in his hovercar once more. Bulma remarked, it's already 10:20, they should have been here already. Perhaps they won't show because that kid was full of hot air? Yamcha made a hopeful suggestion. They'll show, said Piccolo, shaking his head, something had to be significant about this day for them to attack before. Yajirobe's plane exploded out of nowhere, and the island was rocked by multiple explosions. They're here already, the Namek roared. They're assaulting defenseless people. We must assist them, Goku cried out. I'm working on it. Bunshin no Jutsu Taja, Cage. After shouting, mass shadow clone technique. Naruto created a huge swarm of clones, sending one off to save Yajirobe before ordering the others. Go aid those hurt and leave the city. As the clones flew into the city, he gave the order. Why are we unable to perceive these things? An irate Tien yelled. They are not able to sense life energy because they are androids, Gohan cried out. This will need to be done the old-fashioned way. Disperse throughout the city, Piccolo ordered. Goku landed on top of a building and looked around, but he found nothing. Krillin landed on the street and passed a group of Naruto clones who were pulling people out of a building that was collapsing while he searched. Naruto crouched on top of a store and looked around, but he found nothing. Yamcha ran past a group of clones who were carrying people out of danger from a smoking building. One final clone emerged from the smoke cloud, carrying a woman and her child, but it leapt up to avoid a short, fat man's blow. Hey! What's so important? Yamcha yelled at the man impeding the rescue attempt, and when he turned around, he saw the Red Ribbon Army emblem on his shirt. I found them, guys, Yamcha yelled as a nearby clone scattered to relay the information, but before he could flare his power level, more men wearing the Red Ribbon logo appeared in front of him. One of them was an elderly man with a long white beard and mustache, and the other was a large, muscular man wearing a Red Ribbon Army baseball cap. The man grabbed Yamcha by the face with his hand over his mouth, but as he struggled to break free, he found himself losing power. The man brought his arm back to kill the dark-haired fighter, but he had to drop the man after Naruto kicked him in the side of the head, knocking off his hat. The rest of the fighters descended on the area, taking up battle stances in front of the three androids, with Krillin moving to pick up Yamcha. He is rapidly losing power, guys, Krillin cried out. Get him a sensu bean and take him to Bulma. You can catch up with us once he's healed, Goku commanded. Krillin nodded and flew off in the direction of Bulma, carrying Yamcha over his shoulder. Right. So these are the Doomsday Tin Cans, Naruto teasingly said. They certainly don't look like much. Tien added, yeah, I didn't know the circus was in town. Naruto started, those outfits are just ridiculous, but paused as he was inundated with information. My clones aren't done getting people out of harm's way, he said. We must go somewhere else with this. Yes, a lot of people will stand in our way, the old man said. 13 will make sure they don't. The android with the baseball cap eyes glowed red and spewed laser beams throughout the city, wreaking havoc. You're a fool. Get these persons out of here, declared. Goku stopped the attack by punching the android in the face. The chubby android answered, there are no more people left to leave out. Don't worry, all the damage was taken out by my clones. No one was hurt, Naruto said. I see that you disagree with my approaches. All right, Goku, we'll go to a better place to fight, said the elderly man. How are you aware of his name? Gohan asked. We know almost all of you. The Namekian Piccolo, the humans Tien, Krillin, and Yamcha, the son of Goku. Gohan all except the blonde one, the elderly gentleman replied. The chubby android said, there is no information on him in our database. He will fall like the others, no matter what. We are too strong for them, but I would like to know how you knew we would be here today, the old man asked. Enough chit-chat. This is a terrible place to fight, let's go somewhere else, Naruto said, refocusing the discussion. The old man said, very well, we will follow you. The three androids and the Z fighters flew into the air to find a suitable battlefield. After the Naruto clone returned with Yajirobe, Krillin gave him a spare capsule and had to head back to Korin's tower, where she could only gaze with concern at the prone form of Yamcha as she approached Bulma. Whatever became of him? As Krillin placed Yamcha on the ground, she inquired. Krillin grabbed the bag from Bulma and said, the androids did something to him. I need the sensu beans. He gave the bean to Yamcha, who came back to life right away. Wow, that was really close, Yamcha muttered. It felt like that android was draining my energy when he grabbed me. We must then alert the others, Bulma. I'll keep these sensu beans, come on, Krillin said as the two fighters took off. Oh no, I was unable to inquire about their appearance, we'll hold off on catching up until the fighting has subsided, Bulma said out loud. I want to see those androids, Baby Trunks gurgled back. Piccolo, Gohan, and Naruto noticed that Goku appeared to be uncomfortable as the warriors took off for their destination, and soon Krillin and Yamcha caught up to the group. The old man said, this is far enough, we will fight here. What is the matter with Goku? As they touched down, Naruto murmured to Piccolo and Gohan. Yeah, he shouldn't be that taxed from flying here, Gohan responded. It might just be a sense of urgency to begin this, he can manage himself, but watch him closely, Piccolo replied. There is something wrong with you, but what? Perhaps it's best if you don't fight that much today, Naruto wasn't convinced. Goku interrupted Naruto's thoughts, he told the androids, I'm ready whenever you are. You will die today, even though you were a valiant warrior from your victory over the Red Ribbon Army to your conflict with the Saiyans. Our creator has closely observed you, Android 20 declared. He dissected every technique in battle until he created us, androids 13, 19, and 20A, the perfect fighting machines capable of destroying you. That's it, then? One big kick of retaliation? I know it's unfortunate, but did you report on our space battles? Goku inquired. No, by then Dr. Gero had gathered enough information to predict and account for increases in your strength, responded 20. Goku smirked and shot back, so you not only know nothing about Naruto, but you don't know a thing about me either. Did his calculations foretell Goku's transformation into a Super Saiyan? A smirking Piccolo asked. 20 asked in confusion, Super Saiyan? After bracing himself, Goku yelled for power and changed into a Super Saiyan. Goku commanded, this is my fight, they want me, they got me. 13 replied, we have no data on this technique. 20. Yes, it was a surprise development, but it's nothing we can't manage, you can go first. 19. You can have the next one, 13, said 20. The plump android stepped forward, assuming a fighting stance, and Goku launched himself at him as the mechanical warrior braced itself for a blow. Goku disappeared and then reappeared above him. The android then launched a punch, but Goku blocked all of them with ease, and Goku then launched a punch that struck the android's chest, knocking it backward into a cliff face. 20 clenched his fist in rage at the sight of Goku's newfound capabilities. 20 thought, his new powers are beyond anything I could have anticipated. 19 will not hold up without an opportunity to steal some energy. Whoa! Goku is unstoppable, just look at him! Krillin cried out. Tien added, that android couldn't even touch him. Slow down. There was no harm from that blow, Piccolo replied, he's getting up like nothing happened. He was correct, as the android leapt to its feet and ran toward Goku, launching a frenzied barrage of energy blasts at the Golden Warrior, causing a cloud of smoke and debris to rise. The android used the cover to charge forward, holding a ball of energy, and Goku ducked before quickly thrusting an elbow into his stomach, sending him into the ground and causing a crater. This is incredible, Goku, take it to him, Krillin cheered. No, there's something wrong with my dad, he's struggling to maintain his power, replied Gohan. Naruto added, that and his attacks aren't doing any damage. The android reappeared at ground level and punched 19 in the face, sending the plump robot tumbling head over heels along the ground as he rose high in the air above the android, breathing heavily. The android again appeared with a few scratches but no actual damage, charging toward Goku, leading with the crown of his head until Goku stopped him with an outstretched arm before kicking him straight up into the air. You were right, his attacks don't even seem to be phasing him, Piccolo replied. What on earth is that man composed of? Frieza would have been rendered inoperable by those blows, Krillin added. Goku's plump body is either made to withstand a great deal of punishment or there is a serious problem with him. It doesn't help that Goku already appears worn out, Naruto retorted. Kami, Goku said. gasping for air as he started to intensify his attack. Hami HAAAA. With a startled glee, the android raised his palm in the air and sucked in all the energy through the red device in the center of his palm as the giant energy wave rushed towards him. Oh, hurry up! Didn't that accomplish anything? A panting Goku cried out. Goku. Keep your energy waves to yourself. Through their hands, they will absorb the energy, Piccolo shouted. Now let's see what he does with all that energy, deadpanned Naruto. I think he may have figured that out already. Are you serious? It's just not my day, Goku muttered. Great, 20 thought. Goku is wearing down and 19 is now at full power. The Super Saiyan doubled over in agony as the plump mechanical fighter charged at him, nailing him with an uppercut before delivering a knee to the gut. Goku retaliated with an elbow to the face, which the android sidestepped before slamming him into the ground. Goku slowly stood up, placing his hand over his chest. Oh no! That heart virus is it, now it is attacking him, Gohan yelled. Goku believed the boy had erred because he failed to understand when he promised to, Piccolo shouted. He wouldn't, of course. He altered the chronology. The virus must have been delayed when my dad didn't battle Frieza back here on Earth, Gohan declared. As he started to increase his power level, Naruto thought, looks like it's about time for my debut. As the android hovered above him, ready to drain his energy, Goku abruptly lost his Super Saiyan transformation and fell to the ground. Guys, get ready. When I get Goku you'll need to get him care, said Naruto. Yamcha, you carry Goku back to his house. Krillin, you rush there to get the medicine and bring it back to Yamcha so he can get treatment as fast as possible, instructed Piccolo. Krillin tossed the sensu beans to Tien and said, okay, then you hold on to these. With an evil smirk, 19 reached down for Goku's throat and said, now I will take all of your energy. However, a puff of smoke obscured his vision, and when the smoke cleared, a smirking Naruto replaced Goku's body. All he could say was, boom. The android flew into a cliff face after the blonde clone exploded. What on earth was that? As he protected his eyes from the blast, Krillin cried out. Goku appeared one moment and then burst into flames. Tien cried out. I have him. Yamcha hurried over and picked up the barely conscious Saiyan as Naruto shouted, drawing everyone's attention as he held up Goku over his shoulder. How did he accomplish that? My scanners never detected his movement, 20 muttered. Yamcha said, don't worry buddy, we'll have you fixed up in no time. Krillin, let's go. 13 tried to follow the two fighters as they took off, but 20 stopped him. Goku is not a problem, we can get rid of those three whenever we want after we're done here, 20 said. Flying over, Naruto stood opposite the now recovered android 19. I know everything about you now that I've witnessed you fight, so that's the only issue with that plan. You still don't know anything about me, though. I'm going to tear you to pieces, Naruto said. According to my scanners, you pose no threat. Get rid of him, 19, 20 said nonchalantly. With his hair casting a shadow over his eyes, Naruto gazed down and said, you should learn not to underestimate me. He screamed, his power exploding. As he shifted into his demon form and continued to yell, Naruto's power level captured the full attention of everyone on the battlefield, causing the ground to tremble under his energy. How is this even possible? 20 shouted. It's unbelievable, Gohan said. He's exerting as much power as Goku, which is incredible, Tien cried out. Not even more, Piccolo answered. How can this be? My scanners read this boy as an ordinary human. How can he possibly possess as much power as a Saiyan? 20 exclaimed as the ground calmed and Naruto finished his power-up. Regardless, 19 made quick work of Goku. This one should be just as easy. 19 obliterate him. As his fellow android responded with gleeful giggles, he gave the order. As the plump android said, you may have denied me the energy of Goku, but yours will suffice as a replacement. The mechanical warrior then proceeded to launch a volley of high-speed kicks and punches, with Naruto dodging each attack as the android slowly backed him towards a cliff face. As soon as Naruto's back was against the rocks, the android struck with a left-handed haymaker, but his fist passed right through an after-image into the rocks of the cliff face. The android grunted in anger as he looked up to see Naruto floating above him with the same expression on his face. That android hasn't managed to land a punch, but Naruto hasn't even thrown one, said Tien. Yes, I do not understand why he is not attacking, Gohan answered. After watching Goku attack head-on, he must be trying to drag the fight out, replied Piccolo. You're waiting for something, but what is it? Did you actually discover an android vulnerability to take advantage of? Piccolo asked himself. 20 thought, you boy are the anomaly. I could not account for what are you up to, When 19 took his fist off the cliff face, a Naruto clone kicked him blindly, sending him flying through the air to another Naruto who kicked him straight up in the air. The android stopped in midair, but was caught by two Naruto clones from the front and back, who started spinning quickly and pushed 19 straight to the ground. Lotus double clone. As the smoke cleared, the android emerged from the crater with his hat gone, his face scratched up, and a red substance leaking from the corner of his mouth. Naruto stood at the edge of the crater, now grinning. Crypt, the clones said as they collided with the ground and scattered, forming a giant crater. Is an oil change necessary? What's wrong? Taunted Naruto. 19 looked up with a smirk after he struggled and failed to get Naruto to budge. The enraged android charged toward Naruto, leading with a right-handed punch, but Naruto clasped his hand. The android then brought around his other hand for a chop, but Naruto also clasped that hand. The two engaged in a strength battle. You're mine now. After I drain all of your energy, your amazing strength will soon be mine, the android said. Are you serious? With his own smirk, Naruto answered. Before his opponent could react, he swiftly released the android's hands and grabbed it by the shoulders. Then, he gave the android a powerful headbutt that broke the protective covering on its head, causing 19 to stagger backward, clutching its head in a daze before he fell over himself. It's what I referred to as using your head, Gohan cheered. What is the issue? Not in order. Maybe I should get you a repairman, Naruto gloated. The android staggered to his feet, regained his balance, and charged at the demonic warrior. 19's punch sent Naruto skidding along the ground, and the android giggled with delight until he vanished in puff smoke. The ground rumbled, and then a hand with a spiraling ball of energy the size of a basketball erupted from underground, striking the android in the stomach. What a move! Tien shouted, incredible. He knew the androids could absorb energy if he blasted it from far away, so he used the diversion to get inside his guard for a close-range attack, replied Piccolo. Rasengan. The Rasengan drilled into the android's gut, kicking out metallic parts until it bore a hole right into the android's interior before exploding in a blast right out the android's back. Naruto pulled his arm out from the android's interior, allowing the now destroyed warrior to fall to the ground, permanently out of commission, screamed the emerging Naruto. What did you do? 20 roared. You machines are all outdated. I'm sending you all to the scrap heap where you belong, replied Naruto. Up above, there was a sudden clapping sound. I must say that was quite an impressive performance. It appears that Kakarot has at last located a worthy warrior to join his small band. Vegeta. You've been watching the entire time, you conceited idiot, Tien shouted. This guy has the stench of an arrogant Teme. Should be fun to work with, Naruto said. So your guy who was about to jump in before I saved him. As he hit the ground, Vegeta said, I should thank you. The right to defeat Kakarot is reserved for me alone, not some pathetic machines. Piccolo shot back, like you could ever stand against a Super Saiyan. Vegeta said, you act like Kakarot is the only one. He couldn't have, could he? Gohan asked himself. We have no time to spend on you. Take out the next android, Naruto. Piccolo gave the order. No, hold on, I'd like to see this man who says he's a Super Saiyan. Goku was too hurt to engage in full power combat. Give him a chance. He's earned it if he's as strong as he says, suggested Naruto. We can still win. It's obvious that Vegeta and this Naruto are the only threats. We each should be able to manage defeating one, and after absorbing their energy the rest will fall easily. I'm glad I had the foresight to remodel 13 with the energy absorbing technology instead of scrapping him completely. I'm glad I had the foresight to remodel 13 with the energy absorbing technology while I'll take care of the unknown, 20 said. I made a mistake by sending out 19 after such a fierce battle with Goku as 13 moved forward, 20 said. 13 should have no trouble dealing with a threat like Vegeta. Vegeta yelled, this one is mine. Stand aside. Naruto then retreated to watch the others. Are you certain this is a smart idea? Tien asked. I don't want to give them too much information about how I fight. Maybe the last one will discover something to use against me, given that they underestimated the transformation from Goku's performance. Vegeta will already have the advantage if he is a Super Saiyan, Naruto retorted. I've already seen it. Your eyes were filled with fear when he threw away that tub of lard as if he were insignificant, so get ready, android. Shiver in terror. Vegeta roared as he gained strength. Not even him. 20 shouted. I don't think so, Tien shouted. Did he really succeed in becoming a Super Saiyan? Said a bewildered Piccolo. I thought you had to be like my dad to do it, Gohan replied. Naruto said, apparently not. It's up to you to show me what a Super Saiyan can really do since Goku was sick. A smirking Vegeta, reveling in the radiance of his new form, said, yes, there are multiple ways to accomplish the goal. Vegeta smirked as he stood there looking down at 13. Then the android abruptly disappeared, reappeared in front of Vegeta, and kicked the Super Saiyan's head fiercely, turning it to the side. Piccolo remarked, "This one is a much better fighter." Naruto continued, "Yeah, his moves are just as fluid as ours." Vegeta simply turned his head forward while maintaining his sly expression. He wiped a drop of blood from his chin and said, "Just as I thought, you're nothing, it won't even be difficult." As the Super Saiyan charged forward to beat the android into submission, Vegeta delivered a series of kicks and punches that penetrated 13's defenses, making it impossible for the android to retaliate. 13 tried evasive maneuvers to try to change tactics and trick the Super Saiyan into coughing up some energy, but Vegeta remained unflappable and continued his vicious attack on the mechanical warrior. In hand-to-hand combat, it quickly became clear who would win this battle. In an attempt to get to the battlefield before the androids were all gone, Bulma raced ahead in her jet car. "These androids must be seen. This kind of scientific breakthrough must be seen," she said out loud. "Gaga Blue," Baby Trunks replied from next to her. "You're correct," she replied when an adolescent with purple hair abruptly sped past her. "That boy from the future is here. He must be here to find out if they prevailed. We had better move quickly." As she floored it, Bulma exclaimed. "Gwa!" As the jet car accelerated, Baby Trunks cheered. Trembling with rage at 13's loss, Android 20 stood there. 20 thought, "How can this be? They recruited another powerful warrior to join them, and all of their powers are far greater than they should have been. What will it be, Android, then?" Vegeta turned to 20 and exclaimed. "An old fart like you can't possibly prevail," Naruto gloated. 20 thought, "I should have released Android 17 and 18 like I first planned. My calculations never anticipated anything like this. I'm much better than those two models. Furthermore, if I released Androids 17 and 18, you wouldn't be so arrogant," 20 said. "You wouldn't be able to compete with the better models. You're a moron for not bringing your strongest fighters in the first place," Vegeta sneered. "Unless he can't control someone who's stronger than him," said Naruto. "Unable to control? They will follow my instructions because I made them," 20 roared. "I recognized you. You're the actual Dr. Gero. You're in my science textbooks. To control the others, you must have made yourself an android, but it didn't work," Gohan declared. "This is getting to be too much. You will all soon pay for this embarrassment." As he turned to run from the warriors, Gero exclaimed, only to find himself facing Naruto. "Where do you anticipate traveling? You must be seeking a kick to the ass, but I'll give it to you for free." Gero then turned away from Naruto in a different direction, but Vegeta interrupted him as he made fun of him. Vegeta backhanded the android and sent him skidding along the ground, saying, "The woman's been nagging me about recycling parts for the GR. A piece of junk like you should do just fine." Trunks then appeared on the scene, scanning the battlefield. Before looking around and seeing the remains of androids 13 and 19, he thought, "I'm not too late. They're still here. What's going on here? Who are they fighting? Who are you guys fighting with? What's going on here? What?" asked Trunks. "Who are we fighting with, and what the devil do you mean? These are the damned androids you mentioned to us," Vegeta screamed. "Yes, and not just two androids Takeda 3 did," Tien added. "No, these androids aren't the same. What could have happened? Has the timeline changed that much already?" shouted Trunks. "Where is Goku?" Trunks inquired. "My dad didn't get that heart virus you told us about until today," Gohan responded. "Gosh, how could the timeline have shifted so drastically?" Trunks let out a frustrated scream. "It makes no difference hovering over Dr. Gero," Naruto retorted. "We've got this guy on the ropes." The android saw the air car carrying Bulma and Baby Trunks and fired eye lasers at it, causing an explosion. "Another fighter," Dr. Gero thought. "But how can that be? I have no record on him at all, just like the blonde one. I need a diversion to be able to retreat." "No," Trunks yelled, and Naruto was seen holding Bulma and Baby Trunks after the explosion's smoke cleared. "I got them, don't worry," Naruto answered. "Gosh, he was able to get away thanks to your distraction," Vegeta screamed. "What the devil? You don't even give a damn about your own son and wife," Trunks roared. "That woman and her damn child are not the most important things in the world. In addition, why in the world should you give a damn?" Vegeta screamed. Naruto thought, "What an asshole, I would punch him in the face if I weren't holding his wife and child right now." "You idiot. When that baby grows up, he becomes that boy," Piccolo shouted. "That boy is my son. My son is an incredible Super Saiyan at that age," Vegeta thought. You hear, Trunks? You develop into a kind, attractive young man. Bulma cheered and bounced the infant up and down. Not to be impolite, but don't we currently face more pressing issues? Naruto said. Before he reaches his lab and turns on those other androids, we must find him, Tien said. Those have to be them, Trunks said, the androids I told you about. I don't see what the big deal is as long as you don't let them suck your energy. These guys are easy, Naruto replied. These other androids have an endless supply of energy, so they don't need to absorb it, Trunks answered. Dude. Well, that makes things more difficult, Naruto declared. Pay attention to the words, Bulma reprimanded him. Anyway, why are you here? Naruto retorted, this is hardly the place for a mother and baby. I wanted to see them. This is a major advance in the scientific community to create machines like these, Bulma replied. Gohan deadpanned, we could have just brought you the scraps after we were done. We need a plan, so pay attention, Piccolo shouted. Anyone know the location of his lab? He's on his way back there, Tien inquired. Doctor, somewhere near the mountains around North City is Gero's lab, Bulma said. All right, you two leave after him, Naruto commanded, I'll take her home before we catch up. Be on the lookout. Maybe he'll try to sneak up on one of us and get more energy, Piccolo yelled as he, Vegeta, Gohan, Tien, and Trunks flew off to find Gero. Naruto said, all right, I'll get you two home in a second. Hold on. In order for my dad and I to study those guys' remains, I would like to bring them with me. Perhaps we can identify a vulnerability that you guys can take advantage of, Bulma said. Naruto formed a group of clones and started searching the battlefield for android remains, saying, hold on, I got it covered. They'll teleport the remains to Capsule Corp after they're finished, Naruto said. Let's go now so I can catch up to the others. You know what, Chi-Chi was actually right when she said then when you guys finally turned out to be useful, Bulma responded. Before he vanished with Bulma and baby Trunks to Capsule Corp, Naruto shot back, I resent that. In midair, Naruto joined the rest of the group in their pursuit of Dr. Gero after teleporting back to them. Are we going to charge in headfirst and beat the living daylights out of anything that moves, or do we have a plan? Naruto asked. He has too much of an advantage over us to locate him when we are unable to sense his energy. Trying to beat him to the lab is our best option, Piccolo said. If we get there before him, we can destroy the androids before they are awakened, said Trunks. That's what you think, boy, Vegeta thought. I'll fight the androids if only to show you all, especially Kakarot, how powerful I am. You guys, we're here, Tien said, bringing them all to a stop over a mountain range. How are we ever going to locate him in these mountains? There are many places to conceal an entrance, Gohan muttered. Piccolo gave the order, we spread out and searched the old-fashioned way. While the other Z fighters scattered across the area, Naruto organized a mass of clones to help cover more ground. Before hurrying to the secret entrance of his laboratory, Dr. Gero glanced around the side of a big rock to make sure everything was okay. Punching a code into the door's hidden keypad, he entered, and the door quickly closed behind him. He didn't notice a Naruto clone following him, so he took a remote control from a wall and pressed a button that caused the lab's lights to turn on. It appears that I have no other option. I had hoped to avoid doing this so quickly without totally altering their programming. They'll only have to handle the blonde boy and Vegeta. I can take care of the rest myself, so I'll shut them down after that, Gero thought to himself. A young man with long black hair and a red scarf opened his eyes and stepped out of the large container marked 17 after Dr. Gero walked over to it and pressed the red button on the side. He looked at the remote control in Dr. Gero's hand for a moment before saying, Doctor, how are you today, Gero? Gero pressed the red button on the next container, which opened to reveal a young blonde girl who also looked at the remote in Dr. Gero's hand before speaking. Good, good, you seem to be in working order. Now let's awaken 18. How are you doing, Doctor? 18 gave a submissive response. Great, you appear to be operating normally as well. Perhaps this time I won't have to deactivate you. Dr. Gero shifted the remote in his other hand and said, perhaps the original programming just took longer to take hold. Now pay close attention. We are in a difficult situation, and I will not put up with disobedience. I fought Goku and his friends earlier today along with 13, 19, and myself. I was unable to explain the anomalies that led to the defeat of 13 and 19. The first is Vegeta, who has increased his strength far beyond what my calculations could have predicted thanks to some clever strategy. Even though he easily defeated 13, neither of you can defeat him. They somehow added a new warrior to their ranks, which poses a second and much more serious threat. He looks like a human adolescent at first, but he has abilities and powers that are still unknown. He defeated a fully charged 19 with relative ease, so I didn't have time to fully examine him, but I think either of you should be able to handle him with ease, Dr. Gero said. So you did create the energy-absorbing models and even revamped 13 with the design, replied 17. 18 went on to say, you also made yourself into one of those models. Then there was the sound of something smashing into the door. Yes, I have also gained great strength and eternal life, but that is unimportant. Goku's other companions are currently outside. I give you orders to destroy them, Dr. Gero demanded. Now, Krillin had returned to the group after leaving Goku back at his house with Chi-Chi and Yamcha, and the other Z-fighters were all gathered outside Dr. Gero's lab, deciding what to do next. Vegeta and Naruto wanted to smash down the door, but Trunks begged them to back off and wait for Goku. You don't realize that we can't defeat the androids. Goku will have to wait, Trunks begged. Look, you can do that if you want to, but the majority of your information has been embarrassing. I really don't like to sit around and wait, so let's do this instead, Naruto said. It appears that you were outvoted, brat, Vegeta exclaimed as he slammed the door open and saw Gero with 17 and 18. Before he sighed, Naruto deadpanned, a long-haired guy with a scarf and a hot girl. I'm horribly terrified. Well, if I'm going to die, I hope she kills me. Vegeta joked, really, I'm trembling in my boots. Are they robots? Krillin said, perplexed, but they look so normal. Don't be fooled by their appearance. They are more powerful and deadly than you can imagine, Trunks said. I do have a question, though. Why did the other people look so ugly if he could make them like this? Naruto said. Perhaps spending so much time cooped up in a lab fried his brain. He transformed himself into the most repulsive of all. Vegeta gloated. So you came to us as a last resort after your subpar models failed? Disregarding the disturbance, 17 inquired. You must have assumed it would be simpler to manage an energy-absorbing model like you, 18 said, and look at them now, they've been destroyed. As I previously stated, he has no control over them. We'll see how this goes, declared a laughing Naruto. Enough. 20 said. More, give him a kick. He probably made the girl to satisfy his twisted little fantasies. What a sick old pervert you are. Naruto roared with laughter. Take out these idiots. Let's start with the blonde. Gero gave the order. You old crackpot, keep quiet, 17 snapped, we'll deal with them when we're ready. Seeing a pod marked 16, 18 retreated further into the lab and said, it appears that you allowed another earlier design to survive as well. In addition to 13, you destroyed every model that came before us. Trunks thought, another android. How could I have missed one? Avoid touching him. I'll shut you down for any more disobedience. Dr. Gero became enraged. What old man is it with? 17 made fun of him. Dr. Gero looked down and was horrified to see that 17 had taken the remote control from him. How did you acquire that? Dr. Gero shouted. Is it really that important? 18 let out our other friend over there, 17 said. Smashing the remote control? You are no longer in charge of anyone. No, I haven't finished programming him yet. He is erratic, Dr. Gero begged. It doesn't really matter because I'm still better than this model after looking him over, 17 said. Open him up. This is unbelievable. Your creator is me. I want you to follow my instructions. I transformed you from helpless orphans into strong, eternally living beings. Normally insignificant street trash is now a part of the new Red Ribbon Army. At the sharp increase in murderous intent from one of the Z-fighters, the ranting doctor halted, and everyone turned to see Naruto looking down at him through red-slitted eyes. You're ruining all my plans for revenge and world domination. You are nothing more than a combined bastard of Madara and Orochimaru. Dr. Gero felt a presence standing directly next to him, saying, as a former worthless orphan who succeeded in life, I can't let a bastard like you breathe another breath. I would have let them kill you. Beside him, Naruto delivered a blow that sent the doctor hurtling in the direction of the original, who was waiting for him. Rasengan Futon. Wind release spiraling sphere. The doctor was completely ripped apart by the attack, leaving only dust in its wake. As she opened the pod, 18 said, that takes care of that nuisance, now let's open up 16. We will all perish if we release another android. No, Trunks screamed as he changed and was about to unleash a massive energy blast when Piccolo intervened. Slow down. We could all be destroyed by a blast fired from that close. We don't know what else he has in that lab, the Namek shouted. Yeah, we might be able to find something inside later that can help us, said Gohan. You idiot. Vegeta glared at his son, showing them how weak you are is all you've done. Fuck it. You guys don't get it. We could all be destroyed by another android, Trunks cried out. Well, now is too late, look, he's awake, Naruto said, drawing their focus back. There was a big, red-haired android now standing with the other two. That man is enormous. Krillin stammered. Well, good morning, it must be nice to finally be awakened from that coffin. How long were you in there? Asked 17. The tall android just looked straight ahead without answering. 17 questioned, are you even able to speak? Dr. Gero told us it was dangerous to activate you, so is it true? Do you have anything to say? Asked 18. Once more, the android pair received no response. Anybody home in there? The strong and silent type A? Let's get out of here, replied 17. 18 asked. Where to? Complete the mission, what else? 16. Dr. Gero programmed you with a mission to destroy Goku, right? Asked 17. 16 said, yes, that is correct, so you can talk, 17 answered. 18 said, he must only be able to respond to commands involving his mission. I didn't think the old man was that smart, let's go see if he can complete his mission, finding Goku and destroying him, said 17. Before taking off, they abruptly vanished and then resurfaced outside the lab, far from the Z fighters. Naruto scratched his head and asked, what the hell just happened? Krillin sighed and said, who cares? They're gone and we're safe, good riddance. You idiot, they're pursuing Goku, Tien yelled. My dad is still in no condition to fight right now, Gohan replied. Why the hell are they still following his orders? They rebelled against him, replied Naruto. I don't care why or what they are doing. How could they just ignore me like that? I get it, they're afraid, Vegeta exclaimed. No, you idiot, they're going after Goku, we must retreat and regroup with him and attack when he's better, Trunks begged. As he changed and fled after the androids, Vegeta exclaimed, silence boy. I do not have to wait for Kakarot. I am a Super Saiyan of a royal bloodline. Those machines are nothing to me and I will prove it. Naruto, right behind him, exclaimed, don't think I'm going to let you have all the fun, instead. Why can't they understand? The androids are too strong to face without Goku, said Trunks. Krillin asked, what should we do now? Whatever it is, we better make it quick, it won't take those too much time to catch up with the androids, Tien replied. We have no chance of winning without all of us together, we have to go after them, said Trunks. Those two won't back down from a fight though, and no offense, but they are the two strongest fighters we have right now, why no, let them take a shot, replied Gohan. As he and the others charged and took off after Naruto and Vegeta, Piccolo commanded, Gohan's right, let's go, keep it honest, there's no time to waste. On a road by a mountain, the three androids touched down. 18 asked, why are we stopping here? 17 answered, I'm going to steal the next car that passes by here. When 18 said, you really are a fool, we can fly, why would you want to take a car? 17 answered, because we've never done it before. Hey 16, we're taking a car trip, you want to go too? Do I want Goku? 16 asked. He's got nothing but Goku on the brain, said 18, shaking her head. At that moment, Naruto and Vegeta sat down in front of them. Boy, I do not need any assistance, I will handle these machines myself, Vegeta said. Hey, who said you could have all the excitement? If you're a good little man, maybe I'll let you fight the big guy while I take the twins, replied Naruto. No way. He looks like a stiff, if anything I should get the little ringer leader and you can have the girl, Vegeta responded. I didn't know you swung that way, Trunks will be so disappointed, laughed Naruto. All Vegeta could do was grunt. 17 asked, you hear that 16, you gonna take that? 18 said, show us what you can do. 16, destroy them. 16 said, I refuse. 17 started to say, you refuse, who does he think, but 18 interrupted. The blonde android said, I'll take the new guy, you can have the short ugly one, who cares, we can handle this. Vegeta screamed, what was that? While Naruto exploded with laughter. Naruto calmed down and said, you know what, you guys aren't so bad, way cooler than the previous two stiffs, this should be good. Whatever, just make sure you don't get in my way, Vegeta replied. As he started to power up, Naruto suggested, the first person to finish gets the big guy. Vegeta grinned and said, well, I guess that means a 2-for-1 special for me. Naruto shot back, you really do swing that way, don't you? Stupid brat. Vegeta complained. With their auras blazing furiously, the two powerhouses stood there, staring down their respective opponents. The androids were not deterred by their opponent's demonstration of strength. Before taking off in the direction of a short distance, 18 said, I don't want them getting in our way, follow me. Too bad, now I won't be there to bail you out after I'm done with this nuisance, laughed Vegeta. As he flew after her, Naruto shot back, after this is all over, I'm going to beat the living daylights out of you. Vegeta yelled to his retreating form, you want to have a go after them? Fine by me, don't come whining for a rematch after you lose. Now android, are you prepared to face the greatest power in the universe? The 17th person exclaimed, this guy is so full of himself. With a flurry of punches and kicks, Vegeta charged at 17, forcing the android to defend himself. Vegeta took advantage of a gap and punched the android back after 17 blocked a strong kick, then Vegeta resurfaced above him, landing a double axe handle that sent 17 tumbling to the ground, leaving a tiny crater in its wake. He then unleashed a barrage of quick bursts of energy. 17 emerged from the crater with his clothes slightly ripped but undamaged after the smoke had cleared. Vegeta is much stronger than I thought she would be. Is he really going to beat me? A smirking 17 thought, not a chance. What's the matter? Did you short a circuit? That's too bad because I'm just getting starting, Vegeta exclaimed with pride. 17 beckoned as Vegeta charged in again, saying, well, then small fry, bring it on. A short distance away, on the mountainside, the pair of blondes landed in a rocky clearing. The two gazed down at one another. 18 wearing a casual expression and Naruto sporting a cocky grin. Naruto gradually transformed into a demon and raised his power level. Well, aren't you the tough guy? What are you supposed to be? Some kind of half man, half beast? She chided. He replied, no, half ninja, before abruptly disappearing and resurfacing directly in front of her, half demon. He delivered a roundhouse kick and a fast punch before attempting a double axe handle but was stopped by a gut elbow. He abruptly disappeared and then resurfaced behind her, kicking her out of her blind spot at the last moment. She spun around, grabbed his leg, and threw him. He threw a punch that went straight through an afterimage, and Naruto caught himself in midair as 18 charged after him. Then, deftly avoiding a kick from above, she punched Naruto in the head, sending him flying before he could crash into the mountainside. He caught himself in midair once more. She surpasses the elderly hag's superhuman strength. I would definitely take her out for ramen if she weren't supposed to be some kind of killing machine. Who am I kidding? I may yet. As he rubbed the area where he had been struck, Naruto thought. As Naruto's eyes suddenly became glassy, 18 asked, you've had that stupid grin on your face the entire fight. What is going on in that thick skull of yours? On second thought, maybe I don't want to know. Naruto made his signature hand gesture and exclaimed, I better stop playing around, it's time to kick this up a notch. Taja, Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, Mass Shadow Clone Technique. When the technique's smoke cleared, 18 was taken aback to discover that 2,000 Narutos were all around her. All of the Narutos yelled, okay, I'm sorry to keep you waiting, but the real fight starts right here. A group of the clones surrounded 18, attacking her from all sides, and she instantly went on the defensive. She somehow avoided or blocked every attack until she discovered a gap and launched a counterattack, destroying clones everywhere. She let out a tremendous wave of energy around herself and destroyed all the clones. After growing irritated with how monotonous it was getting, she looked around as the smoke cleared, but he was nowhere to be seen. When she looked up, she saw a glimmer of light high in the sky and recognized it as Naruto, who was rapidly approaching her. As she prepared for his attack, she discovered that he was accelerating and had no plans to slow down. He roared, Death Strike of the Heavens. As he slammed into her and blew up suddenly, a rock at the crater's edge revealed itself to be Naruto, and a huge crater was formed. Smiling, Naruto said, let's see how she liked that one. An unharmed 18 with rips in her clothes and an energy shield around her was soon visible through the smoke at the bottom. Before shrugging and throwing away her frayed jacket, 18 grumbled, this sucks, now I have to get new clothes. Well, it's not like those were that great either. I gave that clone a ton of power. Is she also concerned about her attire? Where can I get some of these guys, and what the devil are they made of? Naruto thought. You're a tricky one, aren't you? Too bad your organics will eventually tire out, while mine stay strong, stated 18. Don't worry, I've got stamina in spades, we can keep this going all day, replied Naruto. She said, oh, really? And then abruptly reappeared in front of him, just an inch away from his face before saying, perhaps we should test that out somewhere more private? She gave him a sensual face rub. She abruptly breathed into Naruto's ear, causing him to flush bright red. Really? He stammered, struggling to keep his composure. She continued, maybe, and then abruptly punched him in the face, sending him flying across the battlefield. He whimpered and clambered to his feet, saying, that was so not fair. She smirked and said, "You have your tricks, I have mine." He said, "Touch a copyright," and then rushed after her. Before long, the sound of their booming strikes reverberated throughout the region. The remaining Z fighters arrived on the scene while 17 and Vegeta were deep in combat. 16 gave them a quick look and returned to watching the battle. "Looks like we're too late to stop either of them. I can sense Naruto's battle a short ways away from here," replied Tien. Piccolo said, "Well, let's see what they can do. Perhaps I misjudged his strength. My father is genuinely competing with 17. Would he succeed?" Trunks pondered as he watched the battle. Vegeta then delivered a vicious 3-punch combo that sent 17 crashing to the ground. "I don't know what you were so worried about, Trunks. Just look at him go. He's unstoppable," replied Krillin. "Maybe," Trunks said. "Looks like we have some company." "What's this, Vegeta, calling in for reinforcements?" chided 17. "They're just here to watch. I don't need help from anyone. I'm a Saiyan elite who's become a Super Saiyan. No power compares to mine. Very few people are willing to work as hard as I have to gain such power, and I will not be denied my rightful place as the greatest warrior in the universe," declared Vegeta. 17 sneered, "Too bad, you had to work so hard to gain so little." Vegeta shouted, "Yes, too bad for you," as he smashed 17. On second thought, maybe the android knocked a few brain cells loose because that last comeback line was just pathetic. Krillin was deadpanned. It became evident that the roles had switched once the two started fighting again, with Vegeta finding it difficult to keep up. Vegeta could hardly touch 17 most of the time, but he shrugged off his blows as if they were insignificant. "This isn't working," Gohan exclaimed. He's waiting for Vegeta to burn through his energy before retaliating. "He's right, with every move Vegeta loses power while the android stays strong," said Piccolo. Trunks begged, "Father, you must stop this. Let us assist you." 17 delivered a vicious blow to Vegeta, who then rose from the ground. "Silence, boy. I don't want your help. A true warrior fights alone," Vegeta gasped. "You really don't get it. It wouldn't matter if all you ganged up on me at once. You stand no chance. We androids are now the superior," 17 said, turning to face them. 17 exclaimed, "Hey android," as he turned to face Vegeta, but a burst of energy struck him. Vegeta launched another powerful energy blast at the android, saying, "Never turn your back on Vegeta. Especially now that I'm a Super Saiyan. You never know what kind of surprise I have in store for you. Now feel the power of a true Super Saiyan." With a smirk on his face, 17 stood smoking with his hand extended in front of him as the smoke cleared. After pointing his index finger at Vegeta, 17 sent a narrow energy beam straight through his left shoulder, saying, "So, it's going to be that kind of fight? Well then, I have few tricks up my sleeve as well." Vegeta gripped his arm and screamed, "Ah," in agony. 17 swiftly emerged behind the Saiyan and kicked him in the back, sending him face down to the ground. "What's the matter? Not enjoying my little surprise?" 17 asked. He continues to stomp on his injured shoulder while taking pleasure in the Saiyan prince's agonized cries. As Vegeta quickly lost his golden glow and his hair turned back to black, 17 made fun of him, saying, "I'm only doing this for your own good. Teaching you some humility. For the prince of about 3 people you have way too much arrogance." He was unable to control himself after witnessing his father lose his fighting skills. Trunks screamed, "No, father," as he changed into a different person and charged straight at 17. Swinging his sword around to aim at the android's head, 17 broke the blade as he raised his arm to block the attack without even glancing at him. How? Trunks stumbled, stunned by his shattered blade. Before abruptly resurfacing inside Trunks' guard and kneeing him in the gut, he replied, "I told you not to interfere. I guess I can't play around anymore if this is going to be that kind of fight." After doubling over in agony, the future Super Saiyan lost his transformation and collapsed to the ground, unconscious. A disappointed 17 said, "You were no fun. Vegeta lasted much longer. Well, that and I'm using more power." Piccolo and Tien entered the battle, showing up on both sides of 17. 17 easily sidestepped a punch that Tien aimed at him before casually backhanding him into the mountainside. 17 blocked Piccolo's kick at the android's face and punched him in the stomach, causing the Green Warrior to double over. Then 17 catches him by the throat and starts strangling him. Squeezing down harder on his throat, 17 sarcastically demanded, "What's it gonna take for you weaklings to learn? You don't stand a chance." Piccolo raised his hands in an attempt to break free, but he was unable to do so. "No, Piccolo!" Gohan yelled. "I can't allow this to occur. It's exactly like Frieza. I refuse to watch my friends perish once more." "That's enough," Gohan grunted, his strength rising. "Oh. And what are you going to do about it, kid?" 17 gloated as he squeezed Piccolo's neck even more tightly as the Namek started to faint. His hands dropped to his sides. Gohan roared, "Leave my friends alone." As his power burst and he became a Super Saiyan, Gohan delivered a haymaker to 17 before he could even react, sending the android hurtling into the mountainside. GGG Gohan. Piccolo stumbled, amazed by his student. "You've turned into a Super Saiyan, Gohan," Krillin exclaimed from below. Before he ran off after Android 17, Gohan commanded, "Stand back you guys, this fight is mine from here on out, get these guys some senzu beans." As 17 got off the side of the mountain he had landed on, he exclaimed, "Where the hell did that come from? That kid exploded with more power than the others." His thoughts came to a halt when Gohan materialized before him. "That was a nice shot, kid, but what makes you think you can take me head on now that you've got my full attention?" replied 17. Gohan simply gave him a defiant look. The statement, "Nothing to say? Well, after I'm through with you and your friends your dad is next," was incorrect because Gohan's power suddenly exploded. Gohan roared, "Not on my watch," as he charged and kicked 17 in the side of the head. After that, he landed a left cross and started beating the android's stomach. He then stomped on the android's chest in midair after landing an uppercut that knocked 17 back, and then a powerful kick sent 17 crashing to the ground. Resurrected Trunks said, "Look at him go, I can't believe it." 16 noted, "This boy has far more power than I could have ever imagined." Gohan, Piccolo murmured in wonder after catching himself in midair. 17 looked at Gohan in disbelief as his rage-filled attack went on. Gohan blasted, "Masenko Uha!" But 17 deflected it by crossing his arms in front of him. Gohan reappeared directly in front of the android, launching an energy blast at close range into his face. A crater was created when 17 crashed into the earth. Gohan roared, "Hoo-eh!" as he continued to attack the android with blast after blast of energy. "This boy's power keeps increasing," 16 thought in shock. Gohan brought his hands back to the side for a final move as he stopped his energy blast attack. The wave ripped through the air at 17, Kamehameha, and caused a huge explosion. Krillin raised his arm to protect himself from the explosion debris and exclaimed, "Oh man! Gohan really put the whooping on that guy. No messing around, just took it right to him, instead." As Piccolo watched the panting Gohan, he muttered, "Yeah, but was it enough?" He immediately went for the final blow. In addition, the transformation was energy intensive. 17 was encircled by an energy shield as soon as the explosion's debris cleared. 17 said, "Nice moves, kid, but did you really expect that to finish me?" "Not a single scratch," Gohan thought. A terrified Krillin said. Gohan put everything he had into that assault, and it didn't even faze him. Gohan was put on the defensive as 17 rushed him, just managing to stop the android's ferocious attack. Eventually, 17 managed to get past his defenses and delivered a blow that launched the newest Super Saiyan into the air. 17 jeered, "Come on, what happened to all the power you had a minute ago?" Angry, Piccolo yelled, "Damn it, how powerful are these things?" Gohan stumbled to his feet, glaring at 17 before charging and kicking the android hard in the face. After swerving to avoid the impact, 17 spun around and delivered a kick to Gohan's head that rendered him unconscious. As the big android joined 17, they flew off to where they sensed the other battle. "Now you know you have no chance against us. I'll leave you to stew in your defeat. Let's go." 16. 18 should be done by now, 17 said. 18 had made the decision to intensify their battle by using substitution to prevent critical damage and cloning the surrounding area. Naruto was able to stay in the fight despite her increased strength and speed, that is, until he tried to throw her and unintentionally grabbed her breast. 18 yelled, "Why don't you stop avoiding and accept your punishment like a man?" Naruto dodged an energy blast and retorted, "I'm not that stupid, I'm telling you it was an accident." He hesitated as she halted and asked, "Really?" He instantly doubled over in agony, clutching himself from where she had just kneed him in the groin. "Yeah, I was trying," he said. He exclaimed, "That was a cheap shot." She smirked and said, "You touched mine, I touched yours, now we're even." After that, she grabbed him by the shirt and threw him against the mountainside before burying him beneath tons of rumble with an energy blast. A voice said, "Well, aren't you having fun?" 17 and 16 were floating above her when she looked up. She answered, "Took you long enough, took me long enough yet, your fight was still going on," he replied. She floated over to him and said, "Whatever, are we done here?" He answered, "Yeah, let's go find us a car." When they sensed a force beneath them, they came to a halt. As they looked down, they saw the ground tremble, then explode, revealing Naruto inside. Where do you think you're going, huh? I'm not as easy as those other guys. Our fight isn't finished at all, he yelled. 17 retorted, look at you. You hardly look like you can continue. Naruto's upper body was covered in deep cuts and bruises, and his shirt had been ripped off. Naruto flared his power and said, oh, this isn't going to be a problem, just watch. His energy level returned to full strength as his red energy healed all of his cuts and bruises. While 18 looked at the shirtless warrior with admiration, 17 gazed in wonder. This fighter is now restored back to 100% of his capacity. I have no knowledge of such a technique in my database, said 16. 16 remarked, neither do we. I must say for a flesh and blood type he's not bad. He should be tired out by now, yet he's back to full power. Interesting. His stamina is nearly as good as ours, said 17. 17 said, we have no records of you at all from Dr. Gero. Who are you? I would like to know what you are as well. Your energy signature is far different from the other beings on this planet, said 16. According to 18, he claims to be a half-demon. 17 said dismissively, demon? Come on now, that is just ridiculous. You, an android built to kill an alien, are questioning the fact that I can be part demon? Are you serious? Asked Naruto. Well, then what's a demon doing hanging around that band of idiots? Shouldn't you be out stealing people's souls or something? Chided 17. For the record, I was born as something similar to the humans of this planet. Various circumstances caused me to become like this. I have a question for you though. What is the point of all of this? I know you're not following Gero's orders and you have no grudge against Goku. You've never even met the guy, replied Naruto. 17 responded, it's just a game to us, we're just looking to have some fun. A game? Perplexed Naruto, but then a grin appeared on his face. Alright, I'll play, you guys go ahead and get started, I'll make sure to drop in later to have some fun. Sorry for all the trouble we've caused. They didn't understand what kind of game this was. He laughed heartily as he flew back towards the other Z fighters. 17 said, finally, a sensible one out of their group. 18 shot back, you're just happy that you found someone as juvenile as you are. Don't think I didn't see you checking him out just now, he said. Now let's go, I want to find a nice car to steal. Sensu beans were used to heal everyone, and then everyone gathered at the location of Naruto's fight with 18. So they just left talking about driving a car for fun or something, told Naruto. They just left without doing anything else. This doesn't make any sense. The androids of my time were ruthless. Their idea of a game was torturing and killing. Trunks murmured in confusion. Piccolo snarled in exasperation, we already know that. The timelines have shifted, these aren't the same androids. It's not just that, these androids are much stronger than the ones I fought. They were stronger than me, but not this much stronger, said Trunks. Maybe, it could be that Dr. Gero's thought process was changed when making the androids in this time, Gohan replied. Trunks looked at him curiously and asked, what do you mean? Trunks, in your timeline my dad was already dead from the heart virus, so Dr. Gero would have known about it and his goals would have changed. Revenge would have been useless, so he would have stopped working to make them stronger, Gohan responded. So what you're saying is that in this timeline he focused on making them strong enough to beat Goku and never got around to making them insane killing machines, speculated Naruto. Gohan gave a nod. Exactly, in the other timeline he must have focused on turning them in killing machines to pursue his goal of taking over the world. That still doesn't change the fact that these androids are still very dangerous, Piccolo recalled. Naruto retorted, no, but if we can prove ourselves superior they may back off. Tien said, so what do we do now? We need to wait for Goku to recover before making our next big move, said Trunks. I won't rely on Kakarot. Vegeta thought this as he balled his fists in rage and took off quickly. Trunks started to follow him, but Piccolo stopped him. Let him go, his pride and abilities were just crushed. He needs to reevaluate things, told Piccolo. Hopefully, he'll learn from this. Fighting alone is one thing, but fighting only for yourself, he'll become much stronger if he becomes less selfish, said Naruto. That guy is just too stubborn though, I don't think he'll ever understand something like that, replied Krillin. Gohan followed by saying, we can't let the androids get to my father, maybe we should move him somewhere else. You guys work on getting Goku back to full strength and keeping him away from the androids. I've got something to take care of, don't follow me, said Piccolo. Naruto asked, want to tell the rest of us about your plan? Before taking off, he said, no, I don't, this is something I have to do alone. Gohan asked, what is he up to? Before an idea came to him, Krillin gazed at the direction he was flying in. Maybe, just maybe, he's going to reunite with Kami. If he really thinks the situation is that desperate he might do it, replied Krillin. What will that do? Trunks inquired. Kami and Piccolo used to be one being. Master Roshi once said if they had never separated he'd be the strongest there is, even stronger than a Super Saiyan. He'd be a Super Namek, declared Krillin. Naruto sneered, this super thing again? Completely lame? Trunks asked, let's get back in focus here guys. Where should we move Goku to? Let's take him to Master Roshi's house. They wouldn't think to look for him there. It is far enough from Goku's house to buy us a lot of extra time, Krillin suggested. Alright, let's split up Gohan. Krillin and Tien, you go and get Goku ready to move Naruto. You and I can head to Capsule Corp to get my mom to loan us a ship to move Goku, instructed Trunks. Good thinking. By moving him that way our powers can be suppressed so they won't be able to track us, said Tien. Naruto said, good, hopefully your mom will have some supplies. His eyes were gleaming evilly. Supplies for what? Krillin asked when the 5 fighters took off for their separate locations. He shouted, don't want to ruin the surprise, but trust me it will be good, let's go. 17 decided to take over a pink delivery van, much to 18's chagrin at the moment. The androids were traveling at a moderate pace along the highway. Why of all things did you steal this van? If you wanted fun you should have picked a fast car, protested 18. Just sit back and enjoy the ride. I already told you it's not about how fast we get there, responded 17. She questioned, do you even know where Goku is? We'll try his house first, relax. 16 at least knows how to do that, he responded. The big android was grinning as he took in the picturesque view outside the window. She leaned back in her seat and said, whatever, wake me up when we get to the next town, I want some new clothes. Deep in the mountains, Vegeta stood contemplatively on the precipice of a cliff. The battle kept playing in his head, the humiliation of losing to the android 17 looming over him. Vegeta was furious and clenched his fists. I don't understand. How could I have been beaten so easily? Like I was nothing, he ranted. The Super Saiyans of legend were unrivaled. I am their descendant. Royal blood flows through my veins. How could I be defeated by mere machines? As thunder echoed around him and lightning flashed, he gazed up into the pouring rain. The storm appeared to be a tangible representation of the agitation and frustration roiling within his head. Even the Kakabrit outperformed me, and he changed at that very moment. His power seemed to fluctuate, and at one point it even surpassed mine, he pondered. Could it be that I have not reached the plateau, but only the beginning of the Super Saiyan powers? Perhaps there are higher goals for me to reach and I have yet to obtain the true peak of my potential, he said. Vegeta roared in rage as he became a Super Saiyan and gained power. I will ascend beyond my current limitations and obtain great power like there has never been seen before, and then I will destroy those androids and prove once and for all that I am the greatest warrior in the universe. Then I will show the rest of those fools, especially Kakarot and that other clown, who is truly the best, he declared. When they became aware of Vegeta's power swings, Naruto and Trunks were discussing their individual journeys to join the Z Fighters. You feel that? Naruto inquired. Trunks asked, yeah, it was my father. What is he up to? He lost, right? Must be pissed off and pounding the crap out of a training area. Well, that's what I would do, said Naruto. Trunks raised an eyebrow and said, you lost too, why aren't you doing that right now? Naruto exclaimed, I didn't lose, they left so it was a tie. Right, said Trunks, grinning, so tell me more about the other world. As the two raced through the air in the direction of Capsule Corp, Naruto carried on where he had left off. Kami sat in deep meditation while Mr. Popo watered his plants high in the sky on the lookout. When Piccolo arrived, he rushed in Kami's direction, upsetting their tranquil day. According to Kami, Piccolo, good to see you, Piccolo retorted, I can't say the same. You know what I've come here for, old man. Yes, you wish to for us to fuse and become one being once again. However, I cannot acquiesce to your request at this time, replied Kami. Piccolo screamed indignantly, what is the hold up, old man? Don't you understand what's going on down there? These androids are not the biggest threat out there. So far they have done no harm to this planet. They spared all of you in battle when you could have easily all been destroyed, replied Kami. Piccolo shot back, it's nothing but a sick game to them. I don't believe so. There is a much darker presence that is lurking in the shadows. It has been growing stronger for the past few years. I will make my decision when this new thread decides to show itself, Kami replied. Piccolo complained as he sat down to meditate, saying, okay, I can wait, let me know when you're ready. The battle with the androids had been a few days ago. At this point, the group minus Piccolo, Vegeta, and Naruto was at Master Roshi's house, patiently awaiting Goku's recovery. Bulma claims that Naruto had disappeared and that he and her father had taken over Capsule Corporation's audio and video production division, where they were working on a project. Her father apparently continued to rant about finally receiving what has been his due for years, a pathetic excuse for a scientist right now. Krillin, Trunks, and Gohan were sitting outside talking about their situation. I still don't get it. You guys are a lot stronger than in my time, but so are the androids. If you were at the levels you're at right now in my time, we would have stood a great chance at winning, replied Trunks. With confidence, Gohan said, we'll find out when my dad wakes up. I still can't believe you're a Super Saiyan, Gohan. At your age too. You're shattering all the record books for strength, Krillin replied. Yeah, in my time you didn't become a Super Saiyan till much later, replied Trunks. I've always had explosive power. Whenever I get really mad and just lose it, my power increases, but I could never sustain it. I was just lucky my rage pushed me to that level. Even so, it still wasn't enough, Gohan responded. I don't know about it not being enough. You had the best shots on that android all day, even better than Vegeta, said Krillin. Still, I could feel it and Vegeta probably felt it too. We could still be stronger. We've been acting like Super Saiyan is the peak of Saiyan abilities. I feel like we can do better and still become stronger as Super Saiyans, Gohan offered. You're crazy. I mean, Super Saiyan power is already mind-boggling as it is. What could possibly be beyond it? Asked Krillin. I don't know, but Gohan is right. We need to find a way to somehow surpass our current limitations. Maybe we've only scratched the surface, Trunks was thinking. Krillin got up and walked back in, saying, well, I'm going to see how Goku's doing. You coming? Trunks followed Gohan inside and said, sure, what about you, Gohan? Before heading out to the water, he stood and said, nah, I'll stay out here for a while. Before undergoing a series of exercises, he changed into a Super Saiyan. Krillin muttered, that kid, just like his dad. The two saw everyone huddled around the TV. As soon as they entered, Bulma spun around to get their focus. Bulma pointed to the TV as the commercial started and said, hey guys, come check this out. That's the capsule commercial set. It must be what they were working on. Having a hard time closing the deal? The voiceover asked as a guy, Kakashi, was pushed away by a girl at a bar. Tired of settling for those lame blow-up dolls? The voice asked again as the scene shifted to a man, Sasuke, attempting to fix a hole in his blow-up doll. Is this the only type of action you're getting? The voice asked as the scene changed to a guy, Jiraiya, grouping a woman and them beating the living daylights out of him. The scene changes once more to a man, Orochimaru, hiding himself before going into a gay bar. Have an itch you don't want other people to know needs scratching? He asks. Have a face that only a mother could love? A group of women run away from a man, Vegeta. After that, Androids 17 and 18 enter the screen and put an arm around each of Gero's shoulders. Hello, my name is Dr. Ono Gero, the world's #1 expert in robotics, and do I have a solution for you? Gero's mechanical hose, says Dr. Gero, who is wearing a red suit, a pink fedora hat, and a gold cane. Real-life androids that respond and cater to your every fantasy no matter the gender or orientation. It's even better than doing it with a real person. I used to be a crazy old nerd with delusions of conquering the world. Now I'm the biggest pimp the world's seen since Don Juan. Call today. After Hercule Satan completes a workout, the scene changes. Android 17 came in wearing only a man thong and embraced Hercule, saying, hey, it's the champ Hercule Satan here. Being the toughest man in the world, I have a reputation to maintain, so when I really want to get wild, I call on my model 17. He's everything a guy could ask for. There's no need to be on the down low when you can call for a Gero's mechanical hoe. As the commercial came to an end, a voice said, this company is a subdivision of Naruto Incorporated. The room erupted in laughter as everyone looked at one another in disbelief. Oh, man, that was just too funny. Even though I know he's going to kill us all, Tien gasped in between chuckles. This is incredible. I'm laughing, Krillin said, rolling around the floor. Even Trunks burst out laughing, saying, this is just too much after so much time spent imagining them as crazy murderers. Vegeta is going to kill him if the androids don't, Bulma roared. Hey. Hi there. Are these the mechanical hose of Gero? I need a Model 18 right now. Everyone turned to see Master Roshi on the phone. Hi there? Hi there? Upstairs, Chi-Chi was perplexed by the roars of laughter as the room burst into laughter once more. What's happening over there? So you're in on it too, huh? Chi-Chi said, turning to see Goku chuckling and laughing softly in his sleep. The commercial's two masterminds saw the results of their labor at Capsule Corp. Well, don't you think we did a fantastic job? Dr. Brief said as he sipped his coffee. Yes. Naruto retorted, sipping from his own cup. As they drove through a city on a highway, 17 observed that the different cars constantly honked at them and cheered them on. He muttered, "The people of this planet are all idiots." Then he heard a phone ring, and when he looked up, he saw a cell phone strapped to his visor. "Where on earth did this phone originate?" he inquired. 18 said, "Who cares, just throw it away." 17 put it on speakerphone and took the call, saying, "I'll answer, it might be fun." "Hey," he said, "hey, is this the mechanical hose of Gero, dude?" The voice on the other end answered. "What?" 17 cried out, "Dude, can you make 17, the Android model I want, look less gay? My sister is getting it as a gift," the caller said. "What on earth is happening here?" While 18 snickered at him, 17 roared. "You're correcta, it was enjoyable." As he threw the phone out the window, she made fun of him. "That guy is obviously making a pathetic effort to add interest to this. He'll need to perform better than a crank call," 17 said casually. With a roll of her eyes, his sister said, "You're just jealous that you didn't think of it first." The van came to a complete stop when 17 slammed on the brakes after an orange ball of cloth suddenly smacked against the windshield and unwrapped itself against it, obscuring their view. The three of them looked up to see an advertisement spread like a banner on the orange cloth, which featured a picture of Dr. Gero's head with a nosebleed and drooling mouth staring at 17's man-thong. "Gero's mechanical hose" was written in large black print. 16 began to laugh when he saw it, and 18 roared with laughter. 17 just stared in shock at the terrible scene before narrowing his eyes. As he stepped outside the van to remove the orange monstrosity, he muttered, "You win this round, funny man, but the next will be mine." He soon discovered that the van had been painted orange in some way, and banners with the same advertisement were glued to the back and sides. "Oh no!" he yelled in exasperation, drawing the attention of multiple bystanders. "Dude, you are amazing!" a random man walking by shouted. "Look, mommy, at that guy on TV," a young girl shouted, pointing at him from the sidewalk before pointing up at a giant screen atop a building that was showing the commercial. "What a disgrace!" 17 kicked the van in frustration as the mother yelled, "Cover the child's eyes and carry her away." 17 said, "Come on, now I have to find myself a disguise," and hurried off on foot. "This is becoming quite the day. I get new clothes while 17 gets humiliated," 18 said. "Guy really knows how to court a gal," and 16 followed. As his clones scattered to report back 17's response, Naruto grinned. Naruto thought, "Ha ha ha. This is only the beginning." His plans for the future were halted by the phone conversation he was having with Dr. Briefs. "Well, I will be. You are correct. It is his car. I thought the boy might have taken it. Trunks wouldn't leave something like that lying around, in my opinion," Dr. Briefs said. "Don't worry, I'll send him out to pick it up," and hung up. "What took place?" Naruto inquired. "Apparently one of our employees found Trunks' time machine in the wild out near Ginger Town." Naruto said, "He doesn't seem the type to leave stuff lying around. The strange thing is that it appears to have been there for a while." As he picked up the phone once more, he said, "I'll call Bulma and have her let him know." As he went back to planning his prank, Naruto thought, maybe it's another time traveler. Yeah, right, like it would happen twice now. He's probably going to disguise himself. Runs. "When you left your time machine in the middle of nowhere, what were you thinking? Mister, you're in a lot of trouble." Bulma hung up the phone and screamed. "Whoa, whoa, whoa," as though to say, "I didn't do anything," baby Trunks wailed. Bulma rocked the baby to soothe him, saying, "Not, you little guy, the careless teenager you became," she said, giving the older Trunks a fierce look. "I promise, Mom, it's right here," pleaded Trunks as he pulled out the capsule containing his time machine. "See right here." "But how is there one here, then?" She held up a piece of paper, puzzled. "This isn't feasible. Perhaps it's a different car that simply has the same appearance." As he read the paper, he exclaimed. Krillin read it over his shoulder and said, "Whatever it is, we need to go check it out." "You all remain here and defend the fort," Gohan said. "I'll go check it out with Trunks and Bulma." "That seems like a sensible strategy. I'll go relieve Chi-Chi upstairs." Krillin suggested that playing with the infant for a short time might help her feel better. After a little while, Bulma, Trunks, and Gohan were looking around the area when they noticed the time machine look-alike. Trunks looked through the foliage and said, "It's around here somewhere." "Hey, I located it, come on over," Gohan screamed, and Trunks and Bulma followed his voice until they were directly in front of the time machine. "Yes, that is unquestionably it." He pulled out a capsule, pressed the button, and threw it out, saying, Let's see, his time machine was in perfect condition. Bulma remarked, so this second one doesn't belong to you after all. Trunks stepped up to the second machine and wiped away some dirt on the side to reveal the words and symbol for hope. No, it's the same, take a look at this. He pointed to the ship he had just pulled out and said, in the future you put this on here before I left to come back the first time. It's in the same spot on the other one too. How did this one end up here, then? Bulma inquired, perplexed by the circumstances. Gohan looked inside the car and discovered two items that resembled eggshells. Someone or something used this machine to come to the past, and by the looks of it they did it a long time ago. What is that? Trunks, observing the items in Gohan's hands, inquired. Bulma said, removing the items from Gohan, let me see. But what hatched from it? It's definitely some type of egg, she said, examining them. Gohan looked up at the car's roof and said, whatever it is, it made that hole. While pressing different buttons on the machine's console, Trunks remarked, there's not a lot of energy left. How can this be? This indicates that the ship arrived 4 years ago, which is 1 year prior to my arrival to alert you all. So, before you even got there, the timeline had already changed. It is understandable why so many things have changed, Gohan said. You all? What is that? It's repulsive. Bulma screamed, pointing to what appeared to be a gigantic creature a few yards behind the ship. Trunks approached, touched it, and noticed slime on his finger. The skin is molten, Trunks said. Whatever came out of the time machine shed its skin and went away. That still doesn't explain how it got in the ship or who sent it, Gohan replied. It's out there now, not far from here, but we don't have time to deal with this, said Trunks. Let's leave this place. Someone else can do a more thorough investigation, said a frightened Bulma. As Bulma opened a capsule to reveal an airship and jumped inside, Gohan remarked, that's fine. The two fighters hurried after her as she said, I'll meet you back at Roshi's. While waiting for Kami to make up his mind, Piccolo was starting to grow impatient when the elder Namek suddenly stooped down and said, my goodness, this is far worse than I ever imagined. What took place? Are the androids to blame? Piccolo demanded. With a determined expression, Kami said, no, the evil being has revealed itself, and it must be stopped at all costs. What are you saying? Piccolo inquired. Don't worry, you will understand everything after we merge, responded Kami. With tears in his eyes, Mr. Popo begged, Kami, no. Piccolo grinned and remarked, so you've finally come to your senses, old man. Yes, Piccolo, you have my faith you will make the most of this power to act in the best interests of this planet and its inhabitants. Mr. Popo, that's what needs to be done, Kami said. Before they got started, Piccolo said, okay, but we're going to use my body. Kami commanded, agreed, now just place your hand on my chest. A bluish-white aura surrounded him as Piccolo placed his hand on Kami's chest, and Kami yelled a few seconds later. There was a bright flash of light, and only Piccolo's body was left, staring down at his hands. Kami. Mr. Popo shouted as his longtime friend disappeared, and he now gaped in wonder at the creature that was now in front of him. Piccolo and Kami have both left the Namek who once aspired to serve as this planet's protector is back. As he shot off the lookout, he exclaimed. Dr. Briefs sat across the room, watching the television, waiting to help with their next prank while Naruto sat at a desk in the main laboratory of Capsule Corporation, brainstorming his next move against 17. The doc interrupted him as he was thinking, now, I could use that idiot from the TV again. Satan or I could travel around and give him a peeping reputation like Ero Senin Art. So many options to choose from. How bizarre, Dr. Briefs exclaimed, gazing at the TV in shock. What's happening? Naruto questioned him. Dr. Briefs continued to stare at the screen and said, come look at this report. It seems people are mysteriously vanishing in Ginger Town. Naruto got up from his chair and went to the TV, where a reporter was shown surrounded by empty clothing piles. As you can see, these people appear to have vanished, leaving only their clothing. There doesn't seem to be any evidence to support a theory about what's going on. The reporter was startled by the background gunfire and exclaimed, oh no, what in the signal cut out, leaving a standby message. The police have ordered people to. Naruto put on his fighting gear and said, this is serious, I have to go check it out. Do you believe the androids are to blame? Dr. Briefs asked. No way, Doc, not their style, Naruto said, shaking his head. Instead of causing people to vanish, they would simply blow everything up. Where is the town of Ginger? Naruto focused for a moment before fading out of sight as Dr. Briefs pointed it out to him on the map on the wall. Suppressing his power level, Naruto moved stealthily through Ginger Town so as not to draw attention to himself. and he sensed two energy signatures he could not identify as he appeared high above the town. As he leapt over the rooftops, he thought to himself, if necessary, I should prepare for an ambush. He abruptly stopped and descended to a discreet spot behind an empty building, and as he peeked around the corner, he saw Piccolo clutching his shriveled arm and facing down a giant humanoid insect creature, green with black spots, wagging its tail behind it. When he thought, what the hell is that thing? It must be responsible for whatever is going on around here, and it looks like Piccolo is next. He was stopped by Piccolo's telepathic message. Piccolo commanded, I'm trying to question this thing. Stay hidden until he gives us what we want, then we make our move. Naruto responded via the link, okay, I'm getting into position, give me a signal when you're ready, as he readied himself for an unexpected assault. I may not be a match for you, but you won't stand a chance against the others, said Piccolo. You're not aware of my true power, Vegetarian? Goku? Gohan? They can't compete with me even if they're together? The creature gloated. Why don't you tell me who you really are if you're so sure of yourself? Piccolo said, it's not like it will make a difference. All right, I'll give you one last request. I am an android, and my name is Cell, the one and only masterpiece of the brilliant Dr. Gero. Dr. Gero combined the qualities of the world's greatest fighters into a single entity to create the ideal warrior. He gave the task to his supercomputer while he worked on other projects because he realized it would not be finished in his lifetime. Lifetime? Piccolo and Naruto thought. Dr. Gero turned himself into an android. Wait, that means he is not from this timeline? In his absence, the computer persevered in integrating the cells of the greatest warriors. Cell added, my DNA is intertwined with the vicious Saiyan Nappa, the youthful and bright Gohan, Goku, Dr. Gero's most formidable foe, the arrogant Prince Vegeta, the despot Frieza, and even you, Piccolo. I see you inherited the Kamehameha from Goku, which is how you came to know it. I sensed so many different fighters from you because of it, too, Piccolo said. Yes, I have already obtained the best you have to offer, responded Cell. How did you manage to collect our cells, please? I believe we would have observed any suspicious individuals, asked Piccolo. Dr. Gero has tiny tracking devices the size of a housefly, and it's really easy. If I hadn't told you about them, you wouldn't have even noticed them, Cell responded. The devices gather specimens and record data for the supercomputer deep in the lab to use. We must thoroughly inspect that lab and destroy everything, Piccolo thought. Naruto's thoughts were somewhat different. Perhaps we can find something to use against them if we go through his lab. Why are you here if all of this is true? How did you arrive here? Piccolo inquired. I guess it won't hurt to give one more response. Human strength alone will not allow me to realize my full potential. I need the power of androids 17 and 18, specifically when I eventually reached this form. I found that Trunks had somehow defeated androids 17 and 18, preventing me from reaching my ultimate form. Regretfully for him, I found out that he had a time capsule to use the time capsule to go back to a few years ago. When I was certain that the androids were still around, I threw away Trunks and reverted to my larval form. I now understand. Cell took control of Trunks' time machine and ended up here, further contaminating our timeline, while Trunks was returning to tell us that he had defeated the androids. For now, I've addressed all the inquiries. It was a pleasure to meet you. Piccolo, I regret that you were unable to offer a more challenging task, Cell said. I'm not finished yet, Piccolo roared as he regenerated his shriveled arm after tearing it off. Ah, I see you were stalling for time and information, said Cell with a sly smile. I ought to have known the odds are no longer in my favor because your friends are so close. Gosh. Your timing couldn't be worse. Sensing the incoming power signatures, Piccolo yelled, and when he turned back, he saw that Cell had stifled his power and disappeared. Naruto came out of his hiding place, confused. What on earth did he do? Naruto remarked. He was there one moment, and then he was gone, leaving no trace. I'm not sure. All I know is that our issues have only gotten worse. Let's wait until the others arrive, Piccolo said. After a few minutes, Tien, Gohan, and Trunks reached their destination. What took place here? Gohan inquired. Yeah, we sensed all sorts of strange energy signatures, said Tien. Piccolo said, hold on a minute, I'll explain when Vegeta gets here. A few seconds later, the Saiyan Prince arrived in search of clarification. Namek. What took place here? Vegeta demanded. Piccolo then reported the information he had received from Cell to the assembled group. Now, what should we do? In Shikamaru's words, this simply became problematic, asked Naruto. I'll face this, Cell, eventually, but right now I have more important matters to attend to, Vegeta said. What are the androids? Trunks inquired. Gohan answered, no, he's going to try to ascend. The brat has figured it out too, and I'm confident that Kakarot will follow suit. The androids and Cell will be insignificant to me once I've transcended the level of a Super Saiyan, Vegeta declared. Can that even happen? Tien asked. Naruto responded, of course, if it was futile he wouldn't even bother with it. Vegeta grinned in agreement. Fine, then I'm going to try and track down Cell, he'll be easier to find than the androids, said Piccolo. Earlier, I had a clone following the androids, who were taking their time attempting to find Goku. Naruto remarked. Cell should have his own problems finding them, as they were nowhere near here. Tien made the decision, I'll help Piccolo track down Cell. I'm going to hold off until my dad gets up. We'll get back together with you guys when he's ready, Gohan said. I'm going to check for anything in Gero's lab. If I do, I'll return the items to Capsule Corp using my clones. The Doc and Bulma might be able to identify a flaw in Cell or the androids that we could take advantage of. I'll destroy it once I've gotten everything I can, Naruto said. Trunks said, I'll go with you then, perhaps I can find answers to defeating the androids back in my own time as well. Before departing for their respective locations, they all nodded in agreement with their plans. Gero's lab was exactly as Naruto and Trunks had found it when they arrived at the entrance, and they entered the main room, Naruto heading for the various monitors and equipment while Trunks searched through the pods that held the androids. As he examined the unopened pods, he remarked, the rest of these pods are empty. Yeah, he apparently destroyed all models besides the ones we've faced so far, said Naruto. Trunks said, there seems to be nothing of interest here, we need to find the entrance to the supercomputer that's building Cell. Naruto scanned the room and noticed a panel protruding on the middle of the back wall. He approached and lifted the panel to reveal a green button, which he pressed, causing the wall to slide away from the center to reveal a hidden elevator. As they entered, Trunks said, nice find, this must take us down to the hidden lair. Following Trunks, who pried open the enormous steel door and entered, Naruto followed him, flipping a switch on the wall to turn on the lights. The elevator hummed as it descended far below ground, then stopped and opened to reveal a brief passageway. Trunks looked at the enormous monitor in front of him and said, this must be the housing for the master computer. Naruto stepped in front of a glass water tank with a tiny green blob inside and said, and this must be Cell. His development is still in its early phases. It's hard to imagine that tiny object holds the cells of the world's best fighters. This is pointless. Plans for a self-heating pot? Naruto said, approaching the main console and removing a set of plans from the main desk. What on earth? I don't believe it, Trunks exclaimed as he picked up another set of blueprints. What? Plans for Android 17? Inquired Naruto, peering over his shoulder. It appears that we hit the mother lode. Excitement made the Trunks tremble. Yes, we have. It's all right here. We may discover a weakness to take advantage of with these plans. Trunks was looking over the plans when he noticed a white square on the left wall. Naruto went to examine it and noticed that it protruded from the gray metallic wall. He pressed on the square, and the left half of the wall rolled back behind the right, revealing a separate room. As soon as he entered, he saw hundreds of monitors and machines and quickly identified the room for what it was. Trunks stood behind him, equally astounded, and he exclaimed, if that was the mother lode, then this is a gold mine. It's a freaking android assembly factory. He must have been planning on building more androids once he perfected 17 and 18, said Trunks. The equipment and computers, everything you need to build an army is here, Naruto replied. This place must be destroyed, Trunks said. No, examining everything here will reveal a weakness if the blueprints don't. Naruto, considering the final detail himself, said, or maybe we could go in another direction. He assembled a group of clones, one of whom began yelling commands on how to move the apparatus. What are they doing? What? Asked Trunks. Only your mother and the doctor will be able to make sense of everything when we haul it all back to Capsule Corp. We're sure to find something with the blueprints and everything else. He took Trunks by the shoulder and left the lab, saying, let's go report back the good news. Bulma was so shocked to see Naruto and Trunks suddenly in front of her that she almost fell out of her chair. Avoid doing that. She reprimanded them. We apologize, but we have wonderful news. We looked into Dr. Gero's lab and discovered android blueprints, Trunks said. What am I doing here? You discovered something in the lab of that inept fool. As he peered through the door, Dr. Briefs asked. Furthermore, every piece of equipment he used to make them was present and in perfect working order right now. A number of clones are working to bring everything back here, Naruto answered. I see, between the blueprints and the equipment maybe we can find a weakness, thought Bulma. Dr. Briefs scratched his chin and muttered, that or maybe more. Naruto smirked at him, indicating that he was thinking the same thing. This time, brains will win out, so much for all you muscleheads, Bulma gloated. Maybe Mom, maybe, said Trunks in a positive tone. What are you doing? 17. Come on, screamed 18. Her brother vanished as soon as she went shopping for new clothes. 16 had been hanging out in the town center park since they got there, but now she finds him hiding on a rooftop, disguised with a hat, sunglasses, and a bandana to cover his face. Wait a minute. Take a peek over there. 18 looked down to see two Narutos gorging themselves on bowl after bowl of noodles as 17 gestured to a small stand across the street. Still perplexed, she said, it's him again. So what, you're hiding up here, but why? I'm not trying to hide. How he did it. I figured out he must have been using the copies to follow us the entire time. Since you mentioned that he was able to create copies of himself, they must be those. Simply pay attention to them, 17 said, and 18 leaned over to listen intently to the two. Ah, what delicious ramen. As he ordered another bowl of ramen, the clone babbled, the boss would be furious if he found out we were eating all this ramen instead of him. It's ramen. The boss would be proud of us for giving him the memory of such a superb meal of the best food ever made, his partner answered. I heard that. 10 more bowls, old man, the first one shouted. They've been eating and complaining about ramen for hours, 17 yelled. What the heck? Why isn't 18 following? I now have a grudge against him. It's time to discipline that punk. Sis, come on, 17 said. She thought to herself, okay, I think he's finally lost it. Powered up in his Super Saiyan form, Gohan stood on the edge of the water outside the Kame house, throwing various punches and kicks at an invisible enemy while protecting his father from a potential android attack. Gohan made the most of his time by trying to master his new powers. His mother had been too busy taking care of Goku to worry too much about it, even though she fainted when she saw him transformed. A few days had gone by since the group last split up in Ginger Town. Piccolo and Tien had come dangerously close to pursuing Cell at every turn, but he managed to elude them at every turn. Each time they reached the town or city he was attacking, he would pull the vanishing act he used in Ginger Town. Gohan paused in his workout when he sensed something behind him. Instinctively, the young warrior turned and threw a punch, only to have his father lean backwards, dodging the blow. That would have kept me unconscious longer than that heart virus, man, Goku cried out. Dad? Stated the young Super Saiyan in confusion before quickly realizing the significance of his father standing there. Dad, you're alright? Goku stepped back to get a better look at his Super Saiyan son after the father and son had embraced. Yeah. I feel much better now, son, Goku said. I appreciate you keeping things running smoothly while I was ill. It's almost unbelievable. You too are a Super Saiyan. I was aware of your strength, but this is incredible. Even though I am a Super Saiyan, it wasn't enough, Gohan said, clenching his fists in frustration. It's difficult to understand how strong these new androids are. I know I could see what was going on through my dreams, Goku said, scratching his chin. These new androids seemed unfazed by it, despite your strength. Making his presence known, Piccolo said, they're not the only problem. After a few moments of bewildered staring at the Namekian warrior, Goku smirked and asked, is it still primarily Piccolo in there? Yeah, said Piccolo with a frustrated grunt, I gave that old man as little room as possible. I can see that you still have amazing strength, Goku cried out. With Cell on the loose, it might not be enough, Piccolo said, shaking his head in disagreement. He might already be too strong for us to handle with all the people he's been absorbing, given that we haven't been able to find him. A new strategy is required. I am aware that Bulma and Dr. Briefs are assisting Naruto and Trunks in identifying an android weakness, but we require an alternative strategy, Gohan said. I think you and Vegeta were also right in believing there is another level of Super Saiyan, Goku said, nodding his head in agreement. The Super Saiyan abilities we already possess might not even be fully developed. The training to do something like that will take time that we don't have, replied Piccolo. I have a plan, so maybe not after we get Vegeta, Trunks, and Naruto together. I'll give you the full explanation. Despite not being a Saiyan, he appeared to be able to quickly build up a lot of strength while training under King Kai, Goku remarked. What do we do for the time being? Gohan asked again. Wouldn't it be better to relocate everyone? The androids will arrive here next after determining that you are not at home. We'll part ways, Goku retorted. Everyone should go to Capsule Corp and all the fighters should come to the lookout. I'm going to remain here because I know what you're planning. I can stall the androids if they come here, Piccolo said. How? You couldn't fight them all at once, even with your new strength, Gohan asked. Not all at once, but I think 17 can be persuaded to fight one-on-one, said Piccolo, shaking his head. If I triumph and eliminate him, Cell won't be able to finish. Sounds good. If things get too bad, Naruto or Dad can pull you out of there, Gohan replied. Piccolo grinned and said, that won't be necessary. I've saved up a few things for this fight. Good luck. Let's move forward, Gohan, Goku said. An hour later, the majority of the group had made their home at Capsule Corp. Tien and Krillin decided to remain with Piccolo in order to maintain integrity in the event that the androids arrived on the island. Goku and Gohan had located Trunks and were now searching the east wing of the complex for the real Naruto, but they kept running into his clones, who were apparently too busy to dispel themselves to deliver the message. Somewhere around here, he is, Trunks remarked. I haven't seen him since he barged into this area following that strange news report last night. Rewind to last night when he saw the headline, Ramen Contamination, on the TV screen. Naruto almost dropped the cup he was holding as he left the kitchen to join Dr. Briefs and Trunks in watching the news. Funico Incorporated, the most well-known instant ramen manufacturer and supplier to the most prosperous ramen stand chain globally, suffered a significant setback today that may cause the popular noodle dishes production to halt for months. The story belongs to our own Amy Takeshi, doesn't it? The scene changed to a dark-haired woman speaking into a microphone in her hand while standing inside a factory directly in front of an assembly line, with a man standing to her right. Many thanks, Han. I am present at Funico Incorporated's main production facility, the site of the issue. It appears that at 11:17 this morning, it was found that one of the assembly line's ingredient mixers had been adding cow manure to batches of noodles rather than the customary herbs and spices. They concluded that the switch had been in place for more than 24 hours without anyone noticing. The delivery company that supplies the factory appears to have made a change. The assembly line inspector, who was brought in to assess the system damage, is here with me. What have you found, sir? The man next to her had a red bandana over his black hair, blue overalls, and a strap-on mask. He had a sticker on his chest that said, Inspector 17 inches. His piercing blue eyes flashed a little laugh, and Naruto recognized him the moment he spoke. 17. The astonished blonde thought, there is contamination throughout the production line. To be honest, there is garbage everywhere. It will be necessary to replace and clean the entire production line in addition to removing the recently released products. It is estimated that it will take at least 6 months for this place to be operational again. For a long time, no one will be enjoying their priceless ramen. Trunks and Dr. Briefs turned to face the flaming blonde as the television abruptly exploded. You dare compromise the virtues of ramen? Then 17, you had better be ready for war. In a flash, he created 5 clones and ordered them to commence Operation Bear. The intensity of the retaliation somewhat shocked one of the clones, who asked, Are you sure, boss? It seems a bit severe. When it comes to protecting the integrity of ramen, nothing is too harsh. The original Naruto erupted in fury. Now go to work. Sir. Indeed, sir. As they scurried away in terror, the clones responded. Perhaps we can make that idiot a ramen maker once I'm finished. Mwahahaha. He roared out of the room, cackling with wild laughter. As Trunks stumbled, I think he's lost it. In contrast, Dr. Brief said, No, his heart is in the right place. If someone were to compromise the quality of my cappuccinos, I can only imagine what I would do. He gave Naruto a gloomy look and hurried after him. Back end for Flash. A smug-looking Naruto emerged as one of the doors in front of them suddenly opened. As the door shut behind him, he shouted over his shoulder, You guys can go ahead and initiate Phase 3. If you thought being a mechanical hoe was bad, wait till you see this, he said. You're there. You are aware of how difficult it is to locate you when your clones are everywhere, Trunks said irritably. Ignoring him, Naruto was drawn to Goku and exclaimed, Hey, you've returned. Will we now target the androids? Not just yet, Goku answered. I have a plan, but we have to go get Vegeta first. Anyway, where is he? Gohan asked. I went to check up on him yesterday. He's been standing in the same spot for days just staring up into the sky, replied Trunks. All right, let's go grab his slack ass. What gives him the impression that he can just sit around doing nothing? Naruto said. I know what needs to be done. Ascension beyond the level of Super Saiyan, but how? It took everything I had and more to become a Super Saiyan. What will be the cost of obtaining the next level? The Super Saiyan of legend was destroyed by his own power. Could I lose myself in it as well? Vegeta stood on the rocks Trunks mentioned, still gazing up into the sky. Lost in his thoughts, however, his inner monologue was cut short when Gohan, Naruto, Goku, and Trunks arrived. When they arrived, Vegeta snarled angrily, What do you idiots want? I have far more important things to take care of. Slow down, Gohan remarked. My dad has a plan to help us all try to go to the next level. I don't want anything to do with the harebrained schemes of your circus clown of a father, Vegeta snorted in disgust. I'll figure out how to get up there and take out Cell and those androids by myself. Trunks begged, just hear him out. Father, I understand your goal, and there is a way to reduce the time constraint. First, let's all go up to the lookout. I'll wrap up the explanation there, Goku said. Vegeta complained. Okay, this better be good. A few seconds later, they all reappeared, shocking Mr. Popo, who was watering the flowers. I apologize, Mr. Popo, for that, Goku apologized. It's okay, he smiled and said, it's good to have some company up here, maybe we can find a new guardian once this is all over. Yeah, maybe we can get a Namekian who can make new set of Dragon Balls as well, Goku said, nodding in agreement. Kakarot, get to work, I don't have the entire day, Vegeta demanded. Goku placated him by waving his arms, saying, alright, okay. You can spend a whole year in the hyperbolic time chamber, a room up here at the lookout. While only a day goes by outside, the only limitations are that you can only spend 2 days there in your lifetime and that 2 people can enter at once. Why just 2 individuals? Trunks inquired. There's only enough accommodations inside for 2 people to stay there for an entire year, said Mr. Popo. How are the conditions for training here? Vegeta inquired. With temperatures ranging from bitterly cold to scorching hot, they can be rather harsh the farther you are from the entrance, the greater the gravity becomes, Goku replied. So we'll be in there for 2 years? Naruto inquired. No, just 1 will be used, Goku said. We should put the extra day away for a future time when we might need it. The offer was turned down by Naruto, who said, then thanks, but no thanks. Why? Gohan inquired. I can step it up without any additional training. I could try to defeat Cell right now, but I'll only do it as a last resort, Naruto retorted. Yeah right, Vegeta snorted in shock. You would have already destroyed the androids if you were truly holding back that kind of power. Only an idiot would restrain their authority. Then I guess I'm the biggest fool around, Naruto said, giving the Saiyan Prince a pointed glare. This power could destroy me and the rest of this planet, especially since I have no control over it. It wouldn't affect my control, so the year I spent there would be pointless. Trunks intervened to break up their argument, saying, calm down you guys. Naruto is right, Vegeta, Goku said, expressing his support for Naruto's choice. It would be best if he didn't use this power at all if the risk was too great. Anyway, take me to this room, the prince said, because if anyone is going first, it's me. I'm okay with that, Goku said. You and Trunks can go first, and then Gohan and I will take our turn. Mr. Popo led Trunks and Vegeta to the chamber, saying, please come this way. How much more power are we talking about? When you mentioned that you could step it up, Goku questioned Naruto. In response, the blonde shrugged and said, King Kai said my power fluctuates too wildly to get a good reading, but he claimed it was pretty intense. When the androids suddenly landed in front of him, Piccolo's eyes snapped open as he leaned against the Kame house's exterior, spreading his senses outward to look for any disturbances. Krillin and Tien hurried outside to join him. Is Goku in the vicinity? 18 inquired. Yeah, and that blonde guy too. I've got just a small bone to pick with him, replied 17. You'll have to take it up with me and I'm not in the mood, so get lost, replied Piccolo. He is being honest, 16 said. Neither fighter is here. He's probably still aware of their location. Just give us the right direction, 17 commanded. That island over there? Fine, said Piccolo, pointing with his hand to the right. Me and you. Is this something you truly want to do? Asked 17, giving him an opportunity to change his mind. I've been looking to blow off some steam. You're just the punching bag I've been looking for, responded the Namek. A voice from within the house said, someone needs to check out the black-headed mechanical hose back here. It was Master Roshi. 17's eyebrow twitched, and everyone began to snicker. What was that? The android with raven hair roared. I mentioned that the black-headed mechanical hose back here needed to be inspected by someone. Behind the fridge, he shouted out once more. At her brother's foolishness, 18 shook her head and said, let's get this over with. The 3 took off for the island that Piccolo had pointed out. Piccolo ordered, you guys keep an eye out for more attacks from Cell. He then trailed behind the androids. Piccolo faced down as the group soon touched down. 18 sat on a nearby rock and said, you can have this one, I'll take the next one. 17 rolled up his sleeves and said, I'm okay with it, this is your last chance, find out where Goku and that idiot are. The likelihood of that occurring is slim, let's get this done, Piccolo said, throwing off his turban and cape. 17 said, if that's the way you want it, then fine. With a glance at his 2 friends, Piccolo said, just make sure they stay out of this. 17 answered, don't worry big guy, it's just you and me. Ah! Piccolo roared as his output momentarily shocked 17 with its power. His power is so great that it surpasses Dr. Gero's calculations, 16 remarked. I sense 2 powers as well, he he is not alone. 17 turned to 16 and said, "There's no way." Piccolo took advantage of the lull and hit his face with a hard right hook, then kicked him in the gut and landed an overhead smash that 17 stopped in time. "Your power is surprising, but you're still not good enough to beat me." 17 broke through Piccolo's defenses and gave him 2 punches to the chest before attempting a kick, which Piccolo blocked. The two then began a frenzied punching and kicking match in which both of them only delivered glance blows. 18 said, "He's actually managing to keep up with him." 17 abruptly backed off, and the two fighters had drifted high into the air during their exchange. 17 said, "I'm impressed, you're not bad." "That's not all I am." The Namek roared as he charged the mechanical warrior, and 17 was taken aback by Piccolo's speed, which allowed the Namek to land several of the ferocious blows he rained down upon him. 17 was sent smashing face first into the ground after a vicious kick to the neck, and Piccolo smirked as he hovered over him. "What's wrong? Do you need new batteries?" Piccolo gloated. "Don't get too excited," 17 said. Getting up and dusting himself off, 17 said dismissively, "You still have no chance of winning." The two fighters charged at one another once more, resuming their ferocious battle. Both fighters delivered powerful punches to the face at the same time, sending each other flying back at high speed. 17 smashed into the ground, while Piccolo crashed into the sea at the edge of the island. 17 recovered quickly and flew above where Piccolo fell into the ocean. 17 and Piccolo continued to trade thunderous blows, with each hit releasing shockwaves of energy. As 17 waited for the Namek to appear, he thought, "This guy was nothing to us a few days ago. Where did he get all this power in such a short period of time? I didn't even expect Goku to be this strong." As he planned his next move from below, Piccolo thought, "The usual tactics won't work here. Perhaps I should take a page from his book." His android opponent quickly grew impatient as he waited for him to emerge. "All right," 17 said, "if you won't come out on your own, then I'll make you." The raven-haired android raised both of his arms toward the water and launched an energy ball from each hand. As the two attacks approached the surface, Piccolo emerged and deflected them back towards 17. The android easily avoided both attacks, but the distraction gave Piccolo enough time to get inside his guard and land a few punches. 17 recovered quickly and engaged the Namek in hand-to-hand combat, exchanging blows at a furious pace, neither of which caused any significant damage until 17's vicious right hook stunned Piccolo, causing him to crack his neck as he regained his bearings before beckoning. "So ready for more? Try to keep up, shall we?" As the attack sped towards him, 17 continued to charge at Piccolo before superspeeding out of the way at the last second, forcing the attack to detonate on its creator. 17 gloated as he charged towards Piccolo, failing to notice the energy ball that shot forward out of the water from behind him until the very last second as the smoke cleared from the explosion. 17 gazed down upon the battered form on Piccolo, holding a hand over a bleeding wound on his chest. 17 declared, "A cheap trick like that won't cut it against me." "Who said the trick was that?" 17 turned to face the real Piccolo hovering behind him with a fully loaded special beam cannon at point-blank range. As his voice echoed from behind him, the Piccolo in front of him smirked before fading into thin air. "It appears that I can keep up. Beam cannon fire special," Piccolo roared. "No," 17 screamed as the blast struck directly, setting off a massive explosion. High on the lookout, Gohan sat in meditation watching Piccolo fight with his father and Naruto. Goku persuaded Naruto to train in the hyperbolic time chamber after persistently urging him to do so, arguing that even though he might not develop to his full potential, any progress he made could be crucial. "You guys feel that?" Gohan said, abruptly opening his eyes from his meditation. Goku answered, "Yeah." Piccolo's power took a huge spike. "Maybe he was able to take down one of the androids," Gohan said. "Let's not get too ahead of ourselves," Goku replied. "Yes, they can't possibly go down this easily. We had no idea how deep their power truly runs when we fought before they played with us," Naruto continued. Piccolo was shocked to see that 17 was completely unharmed when the smoke from the explosion cleared. "Not possible. You couldn't have outrun that explosion," Piccolo shouted. "As androids, we have developed an energy barrier that is resistant to even the most powerful energy attacks. I have to say, that was quite the move you made, even made me frightened for a moment," 17 replied. As he growled in exasperation, Piccolo thought, "Just great, that was supposed to be the finishing move. I used up a huge portion of my energy." 17 sped after Piccolo, aiming a kick at his face only to pass through an after image. Piccolo then reappeared behind him, striking down with an elbow that 17 blocked, and as he stared down the cliff face, he suddenly leaned to the left, dodging a punch from 17. Then hammered away at 17 with his free arm. giving him a brief advantage before 17 grabbed his arm and delivered a powerful headbutt that sent Piccolo shiver. The two fighters and two observers turned to face the figure of Cell standing on the top of a nearby cliff. "Good job, Piccolo. My perfection is at your fingertips because of your hard work," Cell exclaimed with a gleeful cackle. "Gosh. I had more time, I thought. When these two combine, he will become unstoppable," Piccolo roared. "That thing is what the devil," 17 cried out. "They don't know," Piccolo said with a gleam of hope in his eyes. "Ah, even though I've never seen them before, it feels like I recognize them after all this time. And what's this other one, androids 17 and 18? Cell braced himself before roaring as he powered up to his maximum capacity. "He must be an older, less efficient model, as he bears the red ribbon insignia," Cell said. "What an awful power. You killed all those innocent people, eh? What a monster," Piccolo shouted. "They ought to feel privileged to have assimilated into me." As he finished his power-up, Cell gleefully cackled. The strain on Cell's power caused everything at the nearby Kame house to tremble. "What dreadful power. This is the most evil thing I've ever experienced," Master Roshi said. "Sitting here on the sidelines is unbearable. We must be able to take action," Tien cried out. "You have to trust Piccolo at this moment," Master Roshi retorted. "Going there will only result in your death. Cell and those androids won't be able to compete once Goku and the guys have completed their training," Krillin added. "This is rapidly getting worse, and Cell's power has significantly increased," Gohan cried out. Goku snarled. "All those innocent people." Naruto saw it differently, saying, "Piccolo just gained 3 new allies. If this goes as I believe it should, all I can hope for is that they can match Cell's power." "What are you saying?" Gohan inquired. "The androids are free-spirited. Letting themselves get absorbed by Cell is not something they would do," replied Naruto. "He is correct, particularly given that Cell is carrying out Gero's directives and plan. They'll fight back," Goku continued. "The only problem is that if he gets one of them, his power may jump too high for the rest to fight back," said Naruto. "Whoever you are, you're interrupting us while we're just in the middle of something, if you don't mind," 17 said. "Where are my manners, I wonder? I apologize for disturbing you, but I need to attend to a minor issue," with a hungry expression on his face and his tail up in the air. Cell responded, "Android 17, so amazingly efficient, and Android 18, poetry in motion. We shall all be united as one. Then I'll be out of your way." 17. "His purpose in coming here was to ruin you," and 18. "Leave this place," Piccolo yelled. "Yeah right." 17's response was interrupted when the creature materialized in front of him and he had to avoid being struck by Cell's tail. 17 narrowly avoided another stabbing before launching his own barrage of punches and kicks, which Cell easily blocked. Cell then backhanded 17 away from him, sending the raven-haired warrior skidding along the ground as Cell advanced on his defeated victim. Piccolo stepped in with a powerful punch that sent Cell flying. Piccolo proclaimed, "You won't be absorbing any androids under my supervision." "Take in?" 18 inquired. Cell is the name of this creature, which was also created by Dr. Gero in order to finish his evolution. He wants to incorporate the two of you into himself, Piccolo said. As though Piccolo's attack had never happened, Cell stood up and said, "Come with me, brother and sister, and we can fulfill the great doctor's vision of the ideal warrior. Together, the three of us will be unbeatable. We are just pieces to the puzzle." With a dismissive wave, 18 said, "No thanks, looks like that old fool just didn't know when to quit," said 17. Who landed next to Piccolo, scowling at Cell. "This is who I am, and I just need one upgrade." Cell answered, "You don't have a choice in the matter." 17 shot back, "Let's see if you can back that up." 16 thought otherwise. 17. "I would advise against engaging in combat with this creature. The danger is just too great. The best course of action for you both is to flee to give you some time. I'll remain with Piccolo." 17 snorted in disgust, saying, "I'm done being pushed around by that old fool. I'm putting an end to his final attempt to dominate us." A sharp kick from Cell's left leg sent the Namek skidding along the ground, and 17 charged at him, missing with a punch and a kick that Cell dodged with ease. Cell brought his elbow down into 17's back, sending him to the ground. Piccolo tried a kick from Cell's blind spot, but it was blocked. He then followed with a series of punches and kicks, but Cell stonewalled him at every turn. As Cell marched toward the fallen Namek, he said, "You should have minded your own business, Piccolo." However, just as Cell got close to him, Piccolo rolled over and leapt backwards, putting some distance between them. Piccolo thought to himself, "This is it, I have to stop him here. You can do this." Cell continued to march forward towards him without hesitation, and as 17 stumbled to his feet, he sensed Piccolo's power spiking and fled the area to avoid the impending attack. He brought his palms together in front of his chest, powering up as he breathed heavily. A white aura appeared around him, and he grunted as he powered up his attack. "You're finished, Cell." As he released the enormous energy blast, Piccolo exclaimed, "Makusen ha!" Half the island was destroyed by the massive explosion that resulted from the direct hit of the light grenade attack. With a hint of surprise, 18 said, "Wow, I think Piccolo did it." 17 added, "What a bizarre creature that thing was." "Brilliant!" exclaimed 18 as the smoke cleared, amazed at the devastation caused by Piccolo's blast. "What a strike." Their moment of surprise was cut short when 16 said, "Don't be fooled." 18 gave him a perplexed look and said, "Huh?" 16 answered, "It's not over, he's not dead." 17 saw Piccolo's horrified expression. "What is it? What's wrong, Piccolo?" he inquired. "That's him, Cell," Piccolo roared, a little scared. As Cell slowly surfaced from the sea, hovered, and landed on the ground in front of Piccolo, 17 gaped at the water. "All right, Piccolo? Have you finished playing games?" Cell sneered. Gritting his teeth, Piccolo said, "Run 17 now." Cell downed the Namek with a forceful blow to Piccolo's jaw that was nearly imperceptible. The laughing Cell said, "All too easy, Piccolo. Taking the Namek by the throat, I could absorb you, Piccolo. But I already have what I need of your presence in my cell structure. You are no longer valuable to me. Just don't. Goodbye." After lifting his arm and launching a blast straight into Piccolo's stomach, Cell turned and threw the Namek into the ocean. Piccolo screamed in agony before collapsing in Cell's arms. "No, it isn't possible." Gohan cried out in shock. "Gosh!" As he punched the ground, Naruto yelled, "No, guys, we've lost Piccolo." Goku stumbled. With tears in his eyes, Mr. Popo said, "Kami, not again." With a shudder of rage, Gohan transformed into Super Saiyan and said, "I can't wait around any longer." As he rushed out of the lookout, he shouted, "No, wait, Gohan!" Goku grabbed him from behind and yelled. Gohan shrugged him off. "I'll take action if you don't." Piccolo wouldn't watch us perish. His father, who was also in Super Saiyan form, stopped the young Saiyan as he flew off in the direction of the lookout. "No, we have to follow the plan. Gohan, Piccolo's sacrifice will be in vain if you leave now." Goku begged, "We have to play to win, even though I know it hurts, son." Naruto declared, "You guys may not be able to do anything, but I can." The blonde gave the father-son pair a resolute look before abruptly leaving the lookout. Both Saiyans were momentarily startled by that look. Goku clenched his fists in exasperation, saying, "Damn it. When you finally persuade him to complete the training, he simply leaves like that." His head disappeared. "All I can hope is that he doesn't do anything too dangerous." Gohan nodded. "I don't know, Dad. With that look he just gave us, I think that's exactly what he plans to do." As he began to approach 17, Cell exhaled with pleasure and said, "Destroying Piccolo was particularly satisfying for some reason. Now, let's get back to business if you'd be so nice, 17. 17 moved into a defensive stance, his eyes narrowing. 17, tell me if you feel like you've been here before or not. It should. This is your fate, asked Cell. Just like before that jerk got his hands on us, I control my own fate. I am no one's tool, 17 declared. When 17 attempted to tackle Cell, he ducked at the last second, grabbed 17 by the ankle with his tail, and slammed him into the ground. He then used his tail to hold him up in the air while using him as a punching bag. The two warriors charged at each other at high speeds. I don't enjoy making fun of you in this way, just give in to me, Cell ordered. I don't submit to anybody, 17 shouted as he stumbled forward, snatched Cell's tail, and then rolled and slammed the creature to the ground. Freeing himself in the process, 17 stood panting heavily and hunched over at the waist. The damage Cell had inflicted taking its toll. When he looked up, he saw Cell smirking over him. You're so weak that you can hardly stand. You're just postponing the inevitable, Cell remarked. As she watched her brothers losing battle, 18 said, perhaps we should escape, 16. Yes, you ought to get away with 17. I'll remain here. You two have to run because Cell wants to join you, 16 said. Remain here? Here, what are you going to do? She asked. I'll murder Cell. Cell wants to destroy the earth because it's a nice place. As he marched toward the battle, he declared, I cannot allow that to occur. Stop, 16. You're going to be killed, she yelled. Living in fear is not living at all, he said, continuing to march forward without turning around. I enjoyed our time together. I hope this is not the end of it. 17 was now pinned down in Cell, his tail dangling over him, and he gazed down at him with hardly contained joy. You're mine now. He gloated as his tail grew into a huge funnel before being launched into the air by Android 16's fist. 16. How did you get me out? A startled 17 asked. The red-headed android answered, I used one of my hard punches. So, it appears that you are not as outdated as you first thought. Interesting, Cell muttered. I can't let you fulfill your ambition. I'll stop you right here, 16 said. Cell brushed off his declaration, saying, You're going to stop me? You must be acting strangely. 17 believed he had fried a circuit. 16. How could you possibly stop him? Do you not feel his power? According to my calculations, my power and his are exactly the same, replied 16. Am I just as much of a piece of garbage as you? When 16 abruptly reappeared in front of Cell, he launched a vicious barrage of punches, which Cell blocked. Cell then grabbed his leg and threw 16 high into the air, and 16 flew after him. The two warriors engaged in combat for a brief moment before splitting up, staring each other down before charging at each other and landing powerful punches to their faces at the same time as they staggered backwards. Cell stabbed 16 in the neck with his tail. You're mine now, gloated Cell until 16 reached up and grabbed his tail. What? I pierced the neural link in your neck, so how is this possible? Not in my layout. After Cell smashed into the creature's stomach with a vicious elbow, 16 sped down and jumped up into the air, repeatedly pounding Cell's face with his feet, creating a huge crater in the ground. 16 showed Cell no mercy in his relentless assault, landing blow after blow on the monstrous creature as he removed the tail from his neck and swung the creature around several times before slamming him into the ground. He stopped his assault and leapt back to the edge of the crater, placing his arms under his hands, removing them, exposing blasters. Hell, flash. The attack's massive explosion illuminated the surrounding area. 17 defended himself from the debris and said, well, that takes care of him. 18 added, he wasn't bluffing about being as strong as Cell. 16 turned to face the pair after hearing them and shouted, what are you two doing? You have to get out of here quickly. Cell was not destroyed by that attack alone. You worry too much. You are clearly much better than that, and with us by your side, nothing will get in our way, 17 declared. Really? From behind him came a voice. 17. Get out of there, he's at your back, 18 shouted. Turning back in shock, he saw the green monstrosity that had sunk underground to get the drop on him. 17 struggling mightily as the tail began to close down over him. Cell sensed an attack from his blind spot and leaned back to avoid a yellow slicing energy disc that resembled a Ma shuriken. He missed the second energy disc in the shadow of the first, which sliced off 17's tail and prevented him from being absorbed. A red flash of light then collided with Cell, sending him flying, and the red aura that had surrounded him dissipated, revealing a changed Naruto. As he gazed at the fallen form of Cell, Naruto smirked and said casually, never thought I'd be saving you of all people. After staring at his savior in disbelief, the utterly stunned 17 smirked and said, if the circumstances were different, I'd bash your skull in. There's Naruto, typical Krillin, let's go assist him, Tien said. You are unable to leave. What about the strategy? Master Roshi demanded. If Cell manages to obtain the androids, the plan will be ineffective, Krillin retorted. Naruto has the right idea. We just need to help buy them more time. Tien went on, it's the only way to win. All right, boys, exercise caution, get out of there if it becomes too dangerous. As they departed for the battlefield, Master Roshi gave the order. Then I guess we'll have to take out this mutant freak if we want to continue our little game, said Naruto. 17 smiled and said, of course I wouldn't have it any other way. Cell thought, who the hell was that and how did he get the drop on me? He roared as he used a burst of energy to regenerate his tail, and as he gazed down Naruto's form, he felt his power level was intriguing but unimportant. Another pest, now that you've revealed yourself you will be eliminated, said Cell. Since you frequently discuss pests, does anyone have a huge fly swatter on hand? Naruto shot back. Are you a cheeky one? I usually find that those with the loudest bark have the softest bite, said Cell, who abruptly disappeared and then resurfaced in front of Naruto, who was lifting him off the ground by the throat. You know what? You're even more repulsive up close, Naruto exclaimed, struggling to escape. After I take you in, let's see who's laughing. Cell laughed as he used his stinger to pierce Naruto's chest, only to be taken aback when Naruto disappeared in a cloud of smoke. Do you honestly believe that I would allow you to catch me that easily, fool? To the east of Cell, Naruto's voice echoed, I know everything about you, and you know nothing about me. The monster turned to confront his new foe. I understand. I've been anticipating your return to the spotlight. You were the unidentified energy signature that Piccolo and I found in Gingertown. How unexpected it is that I have encountered a fighter of your caliber who escaped Dr. Gero's notice. Looks like I deserve a little fun before I finish evolving, declared Cell. A fist landed in Cell's stomach, causing him to suddenly double over in agony. The Naruto he was speaking to disappeared in a cloud of smoke. You really? Began the Naruto that punched him. From behind him, another said, don't understand, and kicked Cell high into the air, where he was confronted by 3 more Narutos who were racing toward him with a massive spiraling ball of energy. With whom are you fucking? Rasengan Omega. As the attack struck Cell squarely, the 3 of them screamed. 17 said in amazement, I'm glad he's on our side this time. The creature trembled with rage as he roared and used a burst of power to regenerate his injuries and lost limb. The smoke from the explosion cleared, revealing a battered and bruised Cell with his right arm reduced to a stump. The beast breathed heavily as he looked himself over and realized the damage done to his body. You are not stronger than me in any way. How could I have been harmed by that attack? Cell screamed. No matter how strong you are, you can't stop the Rasengan from grinding through anything as long as I pack it with enough energy, a smirking Naruto thought. You consider me foolish? Why in the world would I divulge the key to my skills? The only thing that counts is that we are not so far apart in strength that I can't kill you. Well, not bad for a pest. Cell became even more enraged at the blonde's response. Lie. All falsehoods. I see what you're doing, attempting to divert my attention from my objective. No way. I'll be flawless today, and you can't stop me, Cell ranted. You're incredibly foolish, Naruto replied. I'm not exactly working alone here. Cell was nailed by a strong kick from Android 16. Which sent him flying across the tiny island. He stopped focusing on the androids and only paid attention to Naruto. Naruto said, nice of you to join the party. Is it feasible for you to develop another attack that is strong enough to take him out? 16 inquired. Naruto answered, yeah, but I doubt you will just sit back and let me create one. 16 said, then I will buy you some time. Cell stood up and said, I didn't know you had a death wish. 16. The red-headed android declared, I am still fully capable of terminating you, Cell, even though our fight was briefly interrupted. I need an opening with these 2 in the way. I might use too much energy to defeat them, allowing 18 or 17 to defeat me later or escape, Cell thought. I am the most powerful person on the planet. Even without our brother and sister, I'm perfectly capable of dispatching an old model and some young punk right now. Regretfully, neither of you will be present to see me in my glory, but find comfort in the knowledge that it was all made possible by your bloodshed, Cell sarcastically said. The android twins almost erupted in laughter at the absurdity of his antics during a fight, but Naruto turned to Cell as he finished speaking, still gripping his crotch, and said, I'm sorry, did you say something? A brazen idiot. Before you die, I'll teach you some decency. As he charged after Naruto, Cell roared. I'm fighting your battle. The 2 Dr. Gero creations engaged in high-speed combat, with the thunderous echoes and brief flashes of their battle being seen and heard throughout the island as 16 engaged Cell. Naruto flew high into the air and formed 2 clones, which helped him create a red Rasengan that was almost the size of his body. 16 then declared that he had intercepted him with a kick that Cell had ducked. As the attack came to an end, Naruto thought, I'll keep the Rasen Shuriken as a final trump card. Stalling for time is the same as a win for me. Let's see how he stands up to this super explosive version. 16 is winning, and I'm not sure how that's possible, 17 said as they watched the altercation. This doesn't make any sense, said the much more doubtful 18 before. 16 threw everything he owned at Cell, and not a single scratch was left. 17 said, maybe he was toying with him before. We're talking about 16 here, and he doesn't like to play around. There must be something going on in Cell, said 18. Disregarding her worries completely, 17 laughed and waved his hand at her, saying, you worry too much, we can't lose this fight. He is outgunned and outnumbered. 16 hovered over where Cell was buried, waiting for him to come out, and just as he finished speaking, he delivered a vicious roundhouse kick to Cell's face, sending the creature crashing into the base of a cliff and causing a rock formation to collapse on top of him. See, sis, I told you, 17 gloated, we've got this idiot on the ropes. You ought to have taken advantage of the opportunity to flee. Cell's voice came from underground, and 17 fell below the surface as the ground gave way in a last-ditch attempt. 18 tried to grab his arms and pull him back up, but it was too late. No. This is impossible. 17 screamed, and shortly after, Cell's shape emerged from the earth, his tail bulge already at the base, closing in to complete 17's absorption. Wow. Finally, it's here. The ground shook under the force of the transformation's beginning, and a raging wind increased as the monster cried out as the bulge fused inside his body. "You, monster!" Outraged, 18 screamed as his sensors processed the data. 16 muttered, "This is far worse than I ever imagined." "Avoid the fucking way!" Naruto yelled as he launched his assault on the transforming cell. 16 ran over to 18, snatched the blonde, and took off for safety, high in the air. "Do this, asshole!" Rasengan Atomic. As the red ball of energy struck Cell, it abruptly grew to almost quadruple its initial diameter. Naruto roared. "Katsu!" As a huge explosion rocked the island, Naruto muttered. "I really need to stop hanging around with the doc so much. Atomic? I can do better than that," Naruto said, shaking his head as he looked over his work. As Tien and Krillin approached the island, the explosion's backlash of energy almost knocked them out of the sky a short distance away. "What on earth is he attempting to accomplish? Destroy the entire planet?" Krillin cried out. "The least of our worries will be if Cell manages to obtain those androids. Hurry up." As they started to head back to the battlefield, Tien yelled. "Where in hell was he concealing all of that authority? It was an amazing attack," said an astonished 18 as she and 16 looked up at the damage. 16's face abruptly took on an expression of complete horror. "Impossible. I still feel the energy of Cell, and it continues to expand." Ha 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 ha. Parts of his green body glowed bright white while pulsing with power, and the white light soon engulfed his entire body, and the power backlash from the transformation knocked everyone back a few feet. The smoke surrounding the detonation area cleared to reveal a cackling Cell surrounded by a purple dome of energy that protected him from the attack. Goku pounded his fist against a wall while on the lookout, saying, "Gosh, he nearly got him with that one. I sensed it. That attack would have definitely done it," Gohan added. A concerned Goku said, "This is bad. Cell's power is still growing. What will happen when he gets the other android if this is all the result of absorbing the first one?" Gohan asked. "Son, I have no idea," Goku retorted. "I just hope Naruto is up to something else." The white light that was engulfing the android subsided, revealing Cell's new form, which was now bulkier and more humanoid in appearance. Krillin and Tien arrived high above the island to witness the completion of Cell's transformation. "It's too late. Cell has one of the androids already," Krillin exclaimed in panic. "It's only one, Krillin, we won't let him get to the other," Tien said with a more defiant attitude. As he literally sparked with power, Cell said confidently, "A step closer to perfection, it feels so wonderful. There is no being that can match him right now. He cannot get 18 or it will be the end of us all," 16 thought. "His power has grown far beyond what I ever could have predicted." Cell turned to face the female android and began floating in her direction, saying, 18, if you would be so kind. "Run, 18, I'll buy you a little time," 16 declared as he charged the new Cell and struck his face with a hard right hook, but the punch did no damage. To 16, it felt like he had struck an impenetrable wall. Cell grabbed his outstretched fist with his left hand before swinging around with an energy-charged right, nailing 16 in the head and sending him skidding back across the island. 18 hurried over to her fallen friend, who was severely injured. As he strode in her direction, Cell proclaimed, "You won't be running, you will joining me. I'll blow myself up if you move another muscle. Then you receive nothing." She put her hand over her chest and threatened 18. Naruto landed between them and descended, declaring, "That won't be necessary, this is my fight now. You could hardly keep up before, but now you are a tiny insect in comparison to me," Cell said, laughing at the absurdity of his challenge. "Who said I was utilizing my actual strength?" Naruto shot back, "You're not the only one who can step it up a notch." Cell was intrigued by this. "Really? Let's see what you've been concealing, then let me see your actual strength so I can destroy it." Naruto responded, "You asked for it, don't start bitching after I put you in the ground." Two clones materialized on either side of Naruto. The one on the right started getting ready for Sage mode right away, while the other and the original drew power from separate sources. Kawakin. As his power level surged and increased further as he extracted more and more power from the technique, the original Naruto yelled. "Kaimon. Kai. Kya. Mon. Kai. Kai," Simon said. "Shaman. Kai." The other clone roared as it opened the gates and let loose a torrent of energy. "Is this everything?" A self-assured Cell who was not even slightly impressed by the power being released said, "You're still not close to my level. We have not finished yet." As the three Narutos stood together, thunder reverberated across the sky, and lightning struck from the heavens. The waves crashing into the island became more turbulent as nature sensed the magnitude of the impending merge of power, and dark clouds formed overhead, and a light rain started to drizzle as Naruto finished powering up in the Kaioken. A nagging voice in the back of his Hida, which he soon recognized as King Kai, warned him not to attempt what he was about to do. King Kai ordered Naruto to stop, saying, "You can't possibly do all three. The last time he tried to combine only two of these powers, it was too unstable." Naruto telepathically answered, "Don't worry, I didn't try it using the clone method last time," before shutting his mind. As the two clones abruptly dispersed, the original yelled, "You should have attacked while you had the chance." Cell watched with mild interest until Naruto roared, his power exploding as he was engulfed in a bright flash of green light. The backlash almost knocked the creature off its feet as he raised his arm to protect himself. Cell stumbled in amazement. Incredible! As he stumbled to his feet with 18's help, 16 thought, "How could I not have sensed this? Holding back this much power should be impossible. Where did he conceal all of this authority? He did anything like this when we fought," said 18. Krillin and Tien braced themselves above as Naruto's energy swept them away. "What the hell is Naruto doing? I feel like the earth is trembling. He will destroy us all if he doesn't stop," Krillin shouted. "This strength, it's so powerful and erratic. I hope that he's doing well down there," Tien cried out. When the explosive wave of power reached his senses up on the lookout, Goku almost collapsed in shock. "Oh my god, I never anticipated this when he claimed to be holding back. How could he have done this?" Goku asked. "He continues to gain power. Cell has no chance against him at this point," with excitement, Gohan yelled. "Not to mention that he said there was a huge risk in using this power for such an incredible amount of strength. I'm almost afraid to ask what the cost is," Goku responded. "Let's not get too excited, son. The fight hasn't even started yet." Following his expulsion by Naruto, King Kai now looked to his other student to halt the current course of events. King Kai telepathically interrupted, saying, "Goku, you have to stop Naruto. This power he's using is unstable and cannot be controlled." Goku answered, "I don't know, King Kai, he's doing a pretty good job of it right now." King Kai advised, "His body won't hold up. He's fusing the Kaioken with two other techniques that push the body far beyond its limitations. He tried using only two of them before, but the result was far too unstable. The backlash from the chaotic nature of combining all three powers on top of his normal transformation could destroy the planets. We need to trust him, but it's a bit late for that now. He's our only chance to stop Cell from capturing the other android at the moment," Goku said. The flash of light faded, revealing a completely different Naruto. His body was now surrounded by red lighting that was gradually fading. His skin turned pink, his nails returned to normal length, his hair turned blonde with a few silver streaks, and his piercing eyes, a combination of Sage Mode and the slitted eye of his demon form, which left a cross shape in his pupilla, became the most noticeable feature. The rain on the island had increased and was now accompanied by howling winds, and Cell stared in awe and excitement at this new creature in front of him. "Amazing! How fortunate I am to have discovered a worthy test for my new abilities," Cell thought. 16 thought, "I can sense his power is far beyond that of Cell's, but he's holding his energy back to be dead even right now. We may have a shot at surviving all this after all." 18 was shocked by what she was witnessing. Before, he had this exotic animal quality, but now, in addition to his overwhelming power, he seemed to be some kind of god who had descended from heaven in typical Naruto fashion. He quickly destroyed that impression by opening his mouth. "If you don't pick up 16 and drag your cute little ass out of here, I'll eat you. I know you want to jump my bones because I look so amazing right now, and not in a positive way." After blushing from shame, rage, and a little excitement, she glared at him, lifting 16 over her shoulder and saying, "Freakin' perv. Let's get out of here, big guy." "That also applies to you two idiots," with the once joking tone gone, Naruto ordered, "You'll only get in the way." "Tien. You heard the man, let's leave this place," a nervous Krillin stammered. "All right, but let's stay close." As they departed the island, leaving the two fighters in a traditional stare-down, Tien remarked, "I don't trust Cell to try and pull something." As the thunder reverberated in the background and the winds continued to howl, Naruto grinned and said, "I'm surprised you let them get away. Now that you've finally come out of hiding, I couldn't pass up this opportunity to test my strength," Cell replied, his voice bursting with excitement. "You still cannot possibly be more powerful than I am, so I will take care of Android 18 before it's too late. My first priority is to establish beyond a reasonable doubt who is the best warrior on the planet." "Really? It's your funeral? I got it. Haha, a free shot. This very spot? Hurry up," challenged Naruto, who gestured beckoningly. "Are you still the idiot at the end? Your impudence will cost you," Cell roared as he charged Naruto and delivered a nasty right hook to his face. Cell smiled at the force of the blow, but he quickly wiped the smile from his face when he realized that his punch had only slightly side-shifted Naruto's head. You don't hit as hard as my grandmother. Allow me to demonstrate the sensation of a genuine punch for you. After lying motionless for a few moments, Cell rolled over and leapt to his feet, and then Naruto charged him with a mighty roar, unleashing a furious assault of punches and kicks. He was quickly frustrated when Naruto dodged every blow. Naruto swiftly landed a right jab to Cell's gut, doubling the large insect over in pain. He then followed up with a left cross that sent the android plowing into the ground below. You coward, you must fight. A golden aura surrounded Cell as he picked up the intensity of his blows, which Naruto was now blocking at every turn. Cell soon discovered that every kick and punch he threw was mirrored by Naruto. Nullifying his attacks, the warriors met fist to fist on vicious right-handed punches, and after staring into Naruto's cross-shaped pupils, the enraged Cell calmed down and laughed as he fell to the ground, Naruto at his heels. A now confident Cell said, I must admit, you're very good with those antics, but those parlor tricks won't cut it anymore. At this, Naruto arched an eyebrow and asked, is that correct? Since you will be the first to witness my actual power, you deserve to be honored, boy. As he lowered his arms in front of his body and powered up, Cell roared, too bad it will be the last thing you will ever see. The ground shook violently, sending rocks skyward, and Cell's roars reverberated throughout the island. Krillin and Tien stopped their retreat a few islands away. Krillin remarked, looks like Cell is up to his old tricks again. We then come to a halt here. When the androids left, they went in this direction. If Naruto falls, we buy them some more time, Tien said. As Cell finished powering up, Naruto thought, about time he started taking this seriously. Cell's face lit up with confidence. Ha ha ha. I seem to have rendered you mute. Do you realize now how pointless your initial efforts were? Cell gloated. It's you who doesn't understand. No matter how powerful you are, your strength is meaningless. I'll destroy you, Naruto declared. Stupid. I am the universe's greatest, Cell yelled as he super sped behind Naruto, taking him by surprise with a kick to the back, and then followed with an elbow to the gut before passing through an afterimage. Naruto then reappeared behind Cell, grabbing him by the tail, spinning, and flinging him straight up into the air. He then reappeared high in the sky above the approaching Cell, launching himself forward towards Cell while spinning like a high-speed drill. Lotus, Jet Reverse. He delivered a punch that broke bones, sending Cell hurtling back to the earth and burying him in the bottom of a massive crater. You mean true power? It doesn't seem like much to me, Naruto sarcastically said, lowering himself to the ground. Crawling on his hands and knees, a battered and bruised Cell came out of the pit. He tried to get to his feet but stumbled again, and when he did, he looked up to see Naruto staring down at him with those same cross-shaped eyes that seemed to stare through him as if he were nothing. You're a monster. What are you? You're not human, and you're not a Saiyan, Cell demanded. You're genuinely curious. As he began to march towards Cell, gaining speed and a tiny pocket of wind covering his right fist, Naruto asked. Cell began to stagger backward in terror as Naruto got closer. I, Naruto Uzumaki, the ninja of the Kais, am the most feared assassin in the universe. Blood trickled from his hand as he withdrew it from Cell's body, and the blonde roared as he struck with a strong fist that went straight through Cell's chest and out his back. Cell cried out in agony as he coughed up blood and fell face first to the ground, saying, "Figure's an abomination, like you wouldn't have a heart." Those watching the battle experienced another fleeting moment of joy atop the lookout. Naruto detected the subtle pulse of Piccolo's energy signature shortly after he had ascended to his present form. He wouldn't have felt it normally, but in his new Sage form, his senses were exceptional, far outperforming his regular Sage mode. To help the fallen warrior, who risked everything to halt Cell's evolution, he covertly dispatched a clone. By some miracle, the Namekian was still alive, even though he had undoubtedly seen better days. To stay alive long enough for someone to discover him, Piccolo used some of his last remaining energy to try to heal as much of his wound as he could. Cell was unaware of Naruto's recent victim's assistance, and the clone cautiously flew Piccolo to the lookout in search of the sensu beans. When Goku, Gohan, and Mr. Popo saw the clone carrying Piccolo, they all cheered. As soon as the clone put Piccolo down and dispelled him, Goku promptly gave the fallen warrior a sensu bean. The Namek's eyes popped open as the shock of revivification struck him after he swallowed the bean. He got to his feet quickly, cracked his neck, and then stretched his arms, working out the other kinks in his body. With a quick change of clothes and a surge of energy, Piccolo and his friends pushed their senses out to watch the ongoing battle. Namek, who is usually stoic, was immediately taken aback by the way Naruto and Cell were fighting Piccolo. Initially assessed the situation and concluded that Naruto might be able to stall long enough for Vegeta and Trunks to complete their training and stop Cell from becoming complete. He had never considered the possibility of Naruto completely defeating Cell until now. Goku sensed the huge drop in Cell's energy signature and exclaimed, "Alright, he's got a shot to finish him off." "It's almost too good to be true. The scales have tipped in our favor," said Gohan. In response to their excitement, Piccolo frowned. He was certain that there was now a chance for victory, but it was still too early to tell. In an attempt to control their excitement, Piccolo snapped back, "Don't get too excited. It's not over until Cell's energy signature has completely vanished." Even though Piccolo was worried, Goku remained upbeat, saying, "Lighten up, Piccolo. I bet Naruto's preparing to finish off Cell as we speak." Near the battle, Piccolo suddenly felt a huge energy signature that seemed to suddenly burst onto the scene. The Namek bellowed, "What is that power?" The three clones that surrounded Naruto on the battlefield disappeared as he completed a Rasen Shuriken. After temporarily rendering the android inoperable with his final blow to Cell, Naruto used the opportunity to practice his ultimate Rasengan technique, which would eliminate the android threat once and for all. As the fallen Cell fought to regain consciousness, the recognizable bell-like screech of the blonde warrior's original technique reverberated throughout the area as he hovered high in the sky. As he brought his arm back to throw the Rasen Shuriken, Naruto said, "The only shame is that you got your disgusting claws on 17 before I could put you down for good. 16, 17, and 18 aren't really evil, but I can't say the same for you." He felt a surge of energy overshadowing an attack from behind him just as he was about to extend his arm. He threw the Rasen Shuriken directly at the approaching energy blast, thinking it was a new foe. It sliced straight through the assault, negating it, and then headed straight for the newcomer. When Naruto realized at the last second that the assailant was Vegeta, he diverted the attack from the Saiyan Prince and sent it hurtling high into the sky, where it vanished without causing any harm. Hovering in midair, Vegeta gazed down at him with a smug smile. His new Super Saiyan form, with its bulky muscles and slightly paler hair, almost made him look like a completely different person. Angry at the distraction, Naruto roared, "What the fuck are you doing? Do you have a death wish?" With his tone as haughty as ever, Vegeta shot back, "Dying from a pathetic attack like that? Not a chance." Sensing something strange about Vegeta's arrival, Naruto scowled back. He immediately forced his worries to the back of his mind and returned his attention to the current task. Naruto turned away from Vegeta and said, "Whatever you were planning on doing, you're too late. Cell is already beaten. I'm taking him down now." He had to dodge another of Vegeta's blasts and confront the Saiyan Prince once more. Vegeta's expression had changed to one of annoyance. "What the hell is your problem? If you didn't notice, I'm trying to kill this bastard before he gets back up." Naruto was initially a little annoyed by Vegeta's meddling, but now he was becoming enraged. At his reply, Vegeta snorted in disgust. "That pathetic excuse for a warrior is none of my concern. Your fight is with me now," Vegeta said. "Are you insane?" was a question Naruto couldn't believe he had just said. The Saiyan Prince used the occasion to declare, "Insane? No, I'm Super Vegeta," and to loosen the few remaining constraints on his power. Goku, who was back on the lookout, detected the energy that Piccolo was feeling. "Who the hell is that?" he cried. Piccolo was equally astounded and exclaimed, "I can't believe it, it's Vegeta. His power, it's almost unreal." "What are you talking about?" Gohan asked, looking at them quizzically. "Vegeta and Trunks haven't come out yet. Their time should be up right about now." The Namek replied, "That energy is definitely Vegeta's. It's different and far more powerful than before, but it's definitely him." Goku was thinking deeply as he scratched his chin. He concurred with Piccolo that Vegeta owned the energy signature, but this raised additional concerns about his behavior. Piccolo is right, that definitely is Vegeta, but what is he doing? Knowing him, I'd figure he'd stay in the time chamber as long as possible, then he'd march right up to me and gloat about how I now wouldn't be able to surpass him in power. "Then what did he do? Slip out while we were caught up in monitoring the fight?" asked Gohan. Goku sighed. He probably didn't want us bothering him about the secrets he discovered in training, that or he rushed off to the battle. Piccolo roared in indignation, clenching his fists and growling abruptly. There is still no way he would have missed out gloating to his rival about his new power unless he's found a new target. That arrogant pig-headed son of bitch. Naruto's power overshadows Cell's right now. Vegeta is going to challenge him in the middle of his fight with Cell, shouted Piccolo. Piccolo declared, "Sure, Vegeta is a bit of a loose cannon, but he's not that crazy." Goku shook his head, dismissing the statement. "I don't know, Dad. It wouldn't surprise me if he really hasn't changed at all. Still looking out for himself." Gohan sighed in frustration. Piccolo nodded in agreement with his student and complained, "Not one bit." Mr. Popo led Trunks out of the hyperbolic time chamber while the three of them debated how to react to Vegeta. They all noticed right away how the young warrior had changed as a result of his training. He appeared to be an epic hero prepared for battle because of his taller stature and his tough yet composed face. The purple-haired half-Saiyan strode over to them and said, "Hey, thanks for letting us go first. What I miss?" Bulma arrived on the lookout with his younger counterpart in tow. Just as he finished speaking, she hurried out of her jet car and went straight to her son's adult counterpart. Bulma fused over the older version of her son and exclaimed, "Trunks, Vegeta said you'd be done right about now. Look at you. You've grown taller and even more handsome. Oh, just look at your hair." Trunks, embarrassed by the attention, said, "Well, it has been a year for me, Mom." He is currently battling his younger self's attempt to pull his hair out. "Oh, look at your clothes. Lucky for you I brought some of the Saiyan armor replicas I made. Your father already took one, so that leaves 3, replied Bulma. Vegeta was a capsule corp. "How long has he been out?" asked Gohan. "I figured he'd head straight for the fight." Bulma's expression soured, and her voice took on a tone that suggested the Saiyan prince would be subjected to pure torture in the future. "Yeah, that bastard came storming in the house about an hour ago, nearly wrecked my lab getting to one of the new armors before stuffing his ugly mug with food and taking off again. Jerk, didn't even say thank you." Goku added, "That makes sense, he'd want a good meal to make sure he's in perfect condition to fight." Bulma gave him a look that hinted at an impending date between his head and a frying pan, and everyone else started to perspire. "He's been out for an hour, so that leaves one question. Why would Vegeta end his training nearly 2 weeks early?" Trunks responded. "Well, we didn't need the whole year to figure out the training. It's hard to explain, but you'll see for yourself when you go in. After his power level just about plateaued, he spent a lot of time working on techniques. He finished and left. I stayed to continue raising my power as far as I could," responded Trunks. His angry mother questioned, "Didn't he tell you anything about what he was doing?" Then, trying to mimic his father as best he could, Trunks put on a frown and said, "I train alone." Bulma, Goku, Baby Trunks, and Gohan all roared with laughter as Piccolo snorted. "Enough clowning around. You two need to get started with your training, and Trunks needs to head to the battlefield. If Vegeta is going to occupy Naruto, you'll have to track down Cell and eliminate him before he gets to the other android," instructed Piccolo. Trunks said, "Sounds good to me." With a determined expression, the 3 Saiyans hurriedly changed into their new outfits, and Goku gave Trunks the last of the sensu beans as he was ready to take off. "Just in case," the elder Saiyan said. Trunks shouted, "Thanks Goku, good luck," as he rushed out of the lookout. Gohan thundered inwards toward the chamber, "All right training, here we come," but was stopped by Goku's stomach growl. As everyone started to perspire once more, Goku said, "Hey, you got anything to eat, Mr. Popo?" The situation was considerably more dire on the battlefield, where Naruto kept staring at Vegeta as if he had grown a second head. Vegeta's words and deeds were more noticeable than the surge of energy he released when he unrestrained his power. "I gotta ask the question again, are you insane? I'm about to finish off the biggest threat to the planet, and you want to let him go in some ass-backwards attempt to play hero?" asked a puzzled Naruto. Vegeta replied as though his choice was entirely reasonable, "Isn't it obvious that weakling can be crushed at any time? Cell's power is pathetic, so I'm taking you on instead." With a tone of finality, Naruto said, "There's no time for your stupid games. I am killing this asshole now so he can't get his hands on 18 and become complete." Vegeta had other thoughts. "No, you will fight me here and now. I don't care if Cell absorbs another android. Let the beast lick his wounds after I'm done with you. He's next, then I'll destroy whatever is left of those androids to take my rightful place as the most powerful being alive. Don't you get it? If Cell becomes complete, it could mean the end of everything you hold dear. Your friends and family. Think about the sacrifices your son has made to come and give us this opportunity to prevent that horrible future. Don't go and piss it all away," warned Naruto. "I am a warrior. The only thing that matters is proving once and for all that I am the greatest fighter in the universe." Vegeta shot back, growing enraged at Naruto's doubts about his actions. "That foolish boy and stupid women are none of my concern." Naruto's expression swiftly changed from one of incredulity to one of grim acceptance. The irritated blonde whispered, "You're no better than Cell. I'm still on my own here. To keep him away from me long enough to complete the task on Cell, I'll need something." Vegeta replied as though it were a cause for celebration, "It's clear that my cells are the most dominant in him given how far he's come in his quest for power." That statement destroyed any respect Naruto had for Vegeta, and he shook his head in disgust. Naruto's expression abruptly became carefree as he used one hand to scratch his back and the other to his hair. Casually, Naruto asked, How did you get the jump on me anyway? With your new power I should have sensed your presence much sooner. After all the times that Fool Cell vanished from our senses, I figured it might be a worthwhile ability to have while being transformed, Vegeta replied. Genius in fighting. Complete moron at everything else in life. Well, what are you waiting for? Do it. Show me whatever little power you gained, so I can get on with my day. I have more pressing business to take care of, interrupted Naruto. Little power. Fool. The only business you have is being a punching bag for the greatest power in nearly 1,000 years. Vegeta shook in rage at the taunts. Determined to let the blonde know exactly who he was dealing with, Vegeta charged at Naruto. Vegeta swiftly caught up to him and gave his chin a strong uppercut. Vegeta smiled at his first attack's success until the body on his fist disappeared in a cloud of smoke. When the real Naruto appeared out of the smoke, he thrust a spiraling ball of energy into his chest, and his expression of surprise was nearly priceless. Rasengan. Vegeta was pushed down by the attack, which connected with him and drilled him into the ground at a sharp angle before exploding and burying him beneath tons of debris. Naruto complained, "That should shut him up for a little while, asshole," before turning back to face Cell and hurling a furious curse when he realized that Cell had healed his wounds and was only a few moments away from regaining full consciousness. In order to prepare another Rasen Shuriken with as much power as possible, Naruto rapidly created another set of clones. "Damn it. I'm almost out of time," he exclaimed. Vegeta smoldered deep underground, the height of Saiyan power succumbing to such a flimsy ploy. "I'm going to grind him up." The Saiyan Prince's mind roared as he emerged from the heap of earth on top of him. Rather than exploding his way out in a display of strength, Vegeta carefully sifted through the debris to conceal his position. Vegeta chose to sabotage his plan after realizing that the attack was merely a distraction to buy time. The Saiyan Prince noticed that Naruto's focus was entirely off of him and smirked, murmuring, "One good surprise deserves another." His arms were covered in a purple ki, and he leaned sideways, holding the backs of his hands parallel to one another. Vegeta fired his Gallic gun just as Naruto finished his attack and his clones were defeated. Indeed, Vegeta thought this as he launched the attack, Naruto still utterly uninformed. Additionally, my intuition that I would save a lot of energy by not having to undergo the transformation was correct. Nothing was depleted from my reserves by that. Naruto became distracted by his surroundings as he hurried to attack before Cell had a chance to gather his thoughts. His mistake of losing focus proved costly as Vegeta's blast caught him completely off guard, slamming into his side as the clones dispersed and he advanced to finish the monstrous android. Before the purple blast-off energy carried him across the sky, he lost control of his Rasen Shuriken. Although the beam attack was not powerful enough to harm him, it startled him so much that he had to be pushed back a considerable distance before he could escape the beam. When Naruto's senses returned, he saw right away that Cell's energy signal had disappeared, indicating that the android had gotten away to go after 16 and 18. He had no chance of killing the beast. Even with his new senses, his mind then swiftly shifted to Vegeta's stupidity, making Naruto almost lose it as his entire body trembled with rage as his green aura flared around him and steam rose from his skin. Naruto roared in rage and blasted back towards the island. Vegeta waited for him to come closer, patiently hovering in midair. "One good trick deserves another. How's the taste of my Gallic gun, fool?" chided Vegeta. Vegeta was unable to block when Naruto never slowed and struck him head first in the chest like a human spear, as Vegeta had expected him to stop and attempt to calm him down once more. Naruto super sped ahead of Vegeta as he shot at an angle toward the ground, roundhouse kicking him in the gut straight up into the air. Naruto reappeared above Vegeta, slamming an elbow into his back as he flew upward from the blow. As Vegeta's body hunched back awkwardly around Naruto's bent arm, blood spurted from his mouth. The aura of the Ascended Sage flared violently as he reached for Vegeta's leg, then quickly spun in a circle. Naruto threw the prince out to sea, then used his body to play pinball with Vegeta for a short while before slamming him into the ocean from above. He then launched a long barrage of fast-firing energy blasts that exploded beneath the water's surface, sending enormous waves crashing into the island and sending seawater pillars skyward. Naruto's anger persisted even after he had vented some of his frustrations. Naruto yelled to the seas below, "You fucking idiot. I had him. The fight was fucking over, until you came in and destroyed everything." Vegeta soon surfaced from under the water, beaming from ear to ear. Although his armor was slightly dented and he had a few scratches and bruises, he was otherwise unharmed. The Saiyan Prince gleefully exclaimed, "Yes, that's the spirit. Give it everything you have. This is the fight I've been waiting for." This behavior only served to increase Naruto's ire, which he then used to launch another hand-to-hand attack on Vegeta while the Saiyan followed closely behind. As Krillin put it, I don't get it. Cell's power suddenly dropped off the map, but now Naruto is battling someone even stronger than Cell. Krillin couldn't believe what he was feeling from the battle area. A worried Tien suggested, we better do something, Naruto's energy is starting to drop. Are you nuts? If Naruto's having trouble we don't stand a chance, said Krillin. We may not be able to fight, but least we can do is provide a distraction to help get him out of there if need be, said Tien. Oh man. Maybe Cell somehow got the other android already, and that's why we don't recognize this new power, said Krillin. His aura flared around him before he took off towards the fight with Krillin right behind him. I don't feel like Cell at all though, plus we know for sure that the androids went in the direction behind us. It's familiar, yet different and completely radical. Let's go, he exclaimed. Cell's head appeared from beneath the sea below them, beaming from ear to ear. I'm at least headed in the right direction now, idiots. Thank you, Vegeta. I'll have perfection soon. After Vegeta's punch connected, he ended up smashing a massive rock while Naruto disappeared in a cloud of smoke. Naruto struck the side of the Ultra Super Saiyan's neck with a spinning kick. Naruto followed the blow with a right jab, deflecting it and using a powerful right to hammer Vegeta in the gut. Vegeta rolled with the blow. Naruto deflected the blow and used his left hand to strike Vegeta in the face. Blood trickled from the fighters' mouths onto their chins as they split apart. Naruto followed suit as Vegeta wiped his arm across his face to remove the blood. What the devil is happening here? I should be beating the living daylights out of him. Frustrated, Naruto thought when the Saiyan first used all of his power. Naruto felt that he was still stronger than Vegeta, even though Vegeta was stronger than Cell. This appears to be his limit. His power has been declining while mine has remained steady. Vegeta thought. He probably hasn't noticed anything was wrong until now because his anger has been clouding his senses. Vegeta confidently yelled, let's take it up a notch. As he lunged forward with a hook to his right, Vegeta dodged Naruto's attempt to block and nailed him in the solar plexus instead. He then kicked Naruto in the chin with a spinning motion. Vegeta dodged, and Naruto attempted to roll into his own spinning kick but failed. The Saiyan Prince advanced, flipped Naruto upside down, and kicked him vertically on his right shoulder after nailing him in the face with a right cross. In front of Naruto, Vegeta then reappeared and punched him in the chin before launching two powerful energy blasts from each hand. Vegeta hovered in midair, his arms folded across his chest, anticipating the outcome of his labor of love as the attacks knocked Naruto backwards before exploding. It became clear that the explosion had caused some damage as the smoke cleared. Naruto appeared to have been roughed up fairly well physically, and his energy level had drastically decreased. Having a hard time keeping up? Too bad, because I don't intend to keep taking it so easy on you, laughed Vegeta. Damn it, I'm losing money because I don't have control over this form. I used a lot of energy on those two squandered Rasen Shurikens and on Cell. In any case, I'll just need to persevere and dig a little deeper. He isn't trustworthy enough to complete the tasks at hand. Naruto re-engaged Vegeta at close range after searching deep within his reserves for a spark of energy. Before backflipping into a double kick to Vegeta's chest, the blonde sage delivered a punch. Naruto persisted in his assault, dealing a variety of blows, but the brief energy boost quickly wore off. Vegeta took back control of the battle, easily dodging or blocking Naruto's blows while delivering blow after blow of his own. He made the decision to outsource after realizing he was running out of power. As though to power up, he disengaged and squatted down, but instead of the characteristic flaring aura that accompanies a power-up, an odd glow came from under his headband. A curious Vegeta wondered, what is he up to and what is under there? Naruto cried out, fists of the mortal flame, as a red flame engulfed his fists. He promptly went back to attacking Vegeta, who was momentarily taken aback by Naruto's increased strength and speed in hand-to-hand combat. He was able to land a few blows before Vegeta adjusted because of this. Since his own energy output kept declining, the technique's usefulness turned out to be as fleeting as his last power surge. Naruto attempted to use the flame technique more forcefully as he felt Vegeta regaining control of the fight, but it had disastrous results as his body momentarily became paralyzed after being hit with unbearable pain from head to toe. Vegeta took advantage of his bad luck by kicking him with a power axe, sending him crashing into the ground. You'll receive no mercy from me. Vegeta scowled the instant Naruto froze during the battle. He recognized the issue. Naruto's body was no longer able to withstand the strain of his power. It's what initially caused his energy levels to decline. Naruto stumbled to his feet and groaned, no. As he realized he was losing control of the transformation, he made another attempt to call forth more power, but the same crippling pain came back with full force, causing him to pass out. His body and features rapidly returned to their typical state, but the blonde stayed on the ground, barely conscious, still in agonizing pain. His tirade was cut short when Tien and Krillin arrived. They hurried over to the fallen Naruto right away. You should know your place now after I'm through with Cell and the androids. Kakarot will get his as well, thanks for the warm-up, but like all good things this must come to an end. Tien examined him and said, he's still alive. Vegeta. What have you done? Krillin bellowed in a slangy voice. Vegeta declared as he flew across the sky, fools, this is just my first step to glory. I don't have time to play games with you. There's an overgrown android to find. After all this time, he's still the same bastard taking out one of his own men, murmured Krillin. Tien kept his attention on the current assignment. We don't have time to worry about him. We'll have to proceed as if he's the enemy. You take Naruto to get fixed up. I'll go back to see what I can help with. If Vegeta is out of the time chamber, that means Trunks is as well. Hopefully he's nearby to help take care of business, since we can't count on Vegeta. While Goku calmly meditated a short distance away, Gohan advanced through a fierce physical workout inside the exaggerated time chamber. Goku called out to his son, Gohan, I need your help for a second. This made him stop working out. What's up, Dad? Gohan inquired. I want to test out something new. Just watch me power up, Goku responded. All right, let's see it, Gohan said inquisitively. Goku began to power up. After bracing himself, his muscles bulged and expanded beyond their normal size, and his energy output was so great that it almost knocked Gohan backwards. His golden hair, which flowed freely, turned pale and grew a little stiffer. Goku's aura flared outward as his muscles grew to absurd proportions, and he roared, this is the first level, but I can take it even further, so what do you think? The more you power up, the bulkier your muscles get. At your full power, it's going to be really hard to move, Gohan said. Goku released the transformation and returned to his base form, saying, it's just as I thought. We'll be better off training and gaining more power as normal Super Saiyans than relying on these forms. Not to mention the powering up uses up a lot of energy. So, the key to beating Cell may not lie in a new form, but mastering the one we already have, stated Gohan. That's right, I want us to get to the point where being a Super Saiyan is completely natural. We'll start by trying to maintain the transformation for a full day and work from there, said Goku. Gohan answered, got it? Trunks asked himself, high in the sky, what the hell happened here? Although he had sensed Naruto and his father's conflict, witnessing the devastation caused by the two combatants was an entirely different experience. Eyeing Krillin hovering over Naruto's downed form, he quickly snapped out of his shock and reached for a sensu bean. As Krillin said, Trunks, man, I am glad to see you. After tossing the sensual bean, Trunks screamed, Krillin, catch, and glided towards them. Krillin swiftly fed Naruto the bean after catching it before swallowing it. The blonde chewed it slowly. His eyes popped open a few seconds later, and he leapt to his feet as the surge of energy hit him hard. Naruto inspected himself and discovered his headband had fallen off. Man, that was almost as bad as the time Arrow Sennin chucked me into the hot springs. He quickly put it back on after grabbing it. That's weird, you still have that huge cut on your forehead even after using the sensu bean, Krillin said. As he put his orange headband back on, Naruto quickly allayed his worries, saying, don't worry about it, it's not open, it's an old scar. Krillin said, good to see you're alright. Vegeta really did a number on you. It wasn't Vegeta, that new power I taped into, my body couldn't hold up under the strain. It also burned through my reserve energy way too quickly. I would have been better off fighting with less power and trying to wear him down, replied Naruto as he extended his arms. Father probably has become overconfident from defeating you. He'll underestimate Cell and the androids when he goes to face them, said a worried Trunks. The snort from Krillin said, he had that overconfidence problem well before this battle. I was a fool, getting caught up in trying to overpower him with physical force. Vegeta's nothing more than a rabid dog. I should have retreated and let him turn his sights on Cell. Still, there needs to be some retribution for not being a team player, Naruto said before turning to Trunks. Trunks, do you have any more sensu beans? Trunks answered, yeah, I've got 2 more, why? He's assuming that Cell is no threat to him anyway, but it shouldn't hurt to have the buffoon at full strength. I'm going to teleport you close to Cell's location. It won't be exact, but should be close enough that you'll find him. After that, I'll have Vegeta to track your power. After giving him a bean, Naruto stood motionless as he closed his eyes, and when he opened them a few seconds later, they were in his new Sage mode. Trunks asked, what's up with your eyes? The two grabbed onto the blonde and the 3 disappeared from the area, resurfacing in midair above the water border of 3 small islands. I'll tell you about it later. I've got a location, grab on. Krillin asked himself, is this it? As he looked around and saw nothing unusual. I said it wouldn't be exact, but he's lurking around here somewhere, said Naruto. Trunks said, here, and gave him the sensu bean. Naruto waved at them and disappeared. He's really something even after Vegeta screwed us over, he's putting the task at hand first and still willing to work with the guy," said Krillin. "Yes, he's almost being too kind, but I don't mind because I have to concentrate on Cell," Trunks thought as he started looking. Naruto disappeared and then abruptly resurfaced beside the regeneration chambers in Capsule Corp's medical bay. As he rummaged through some of the cabinets, Naruto muttered, "Nowhere did I leave that scroll." A storage scroll had traveled across dimensions with Naruto, thanks to a storage seal on his right bicep. Among its contents were a variety of trinkets he had accumulated over the years that he believed would be useful at some point. In order to determine whether some of the ancient poisons and medicinal mixtures could be replicated, he had left it here with Dr. Briefs. In the rear of a cabinet, he discovered the scroll from the scroll. He took out a kit that contained multiple tiny pouches filled with fine powder after snatching the one he was after and emptying it into a Capsule Corp water bottle. He crushed the sensual bean Trunks had given him and also dumped that inside. He poured water into it, shook it to mix the contents, and then disappeared again. Vegeta glided slowly through the air, looking around for any sign of Cell or the androids when Naruto appeared a short distance ahead of him. His progress came to a stop. "Yo ass face!" shouted Naruto, waving, "Returned for another beating? Too bad, I don't have time for you," Vegeta responded. After giving him the finger, Naruto threw the water bottle at him. Vegeta caught it and raised an eyebrow, asking, "What's this?" "We're out of sensu beans. Bulma's came up with synthetic version you mix with water. I don't want to hear any bullshit about our fight being nothing. You should be at full strength to face Cell. This doesn't change anything between us. My goal right now is the elimination of Cell," Naruto said with a straight face. Vegeta complained and then drank it down, saying, "About time that damn woman did something useful. At least it tastes better than those insufferable beans." Naruto casually added, "It appears Trunks was able to lock in on a faint trace of Cell's energy before I left. So take me to them right now," the Saiyan Prince insisted. "Yes, Su. Assface Su," Naruto greeted him with respect. Vegeta snarled, "I don't have time for your games, clown." As Naruto took hold of his shoulder, they disappeared and then resurfaced in the middle of nowhere, above an unidentified island. Vegeta demanded, "Well, where the hell are they?" While blowing a raspberry at him, Naruto said, "Somewhere on the other side of the planet. If you leave now, you'll make it there in time to see Trunks celebrate his victory later," and then disappeared. In an attempt to capture Trunks' energy signature, Vegeta roared, "Damn you! You'll pay for this, brat. I'll teach you a lesson you won't forget." As he shot across the sky, Naruto returned to the location he had just left a few moments later. When he arrives at the battle and tries to intervene, he will be caught off guard since Vegeta is unreliable. Trunks' fight is the best chance to destroy Cell before he disappeared once more, Naruto thought. Now is the time to go see what we're up against. Several miles from where they left Naruto in his fight with Cell, 16 and 18 were now holed up on one of the islands. 16 said, "The fighting has stopped, we should start moving again." 18 answered, "Yeah, but we can't tell who won. Cell could be finished." 16 sighed and said, "If my scanners were still functioning properly, I'd be able to tell you if he was dead or is using his cloaking technique once again." Putting aside his worries, 18 said, "Someone will make themselves known sooner or later, besides it's not like we have any place to go. I'm worried about the second battle after Cell disappeared. What's going on out there?" through 16 as he gazed into the clouds with longing. Cell dropped from the sky, extending his senses while hiding on the island. "How did these idiots follow me so quickly?" Cell asked, sensing Trunks and Krillin's abilities close by. "I won't be able to hunt down Android 18 and deal with these fools at the same time." At that moment, he felt Tien enter the area and join Trunks and Krillin in their search. Cell soared into the air and increased his power level, saying, "Perhaps I can use them to draw out 18. The androids must be in this area. As soon as I get my hands on her, everything else becomes trivial." 18. "I know you're out here. Come out or I'll blast you out." Cell sent out a barrage of energy blasts, destroying some nearby islands, but got no response. "You can't hide forever." "What the hell is he doing?" the 18-year-old said. "If one of those blasts manages to destroy me, he can't absorb me. Those blasts are precisely strong enough to destroy everything they hit except you," 16 was informed. 18 said with a hint of frustration, "Great, now we're stuck. If we try to move now, he'll find us," before continuing. "Do I still feel like there are other fighters nearby? Why would Cell notify them of his presence?" 16 asked, perplexed. Trunks was all over it as soon as Cell increased his power level. Trunks said, "It's him. Let's go. Hold on, nothing has changed since he fought Naruto. Why would he leave himself open like this? Asked Tien. Krillin said, you're right, we could be walking into a trap. Before the three of them blasted across the skies, Trunks ordered, I'll take care of Cell, and if he baits the androids into showing up, you two get them as far away as possible. Piccolo, who was keeping an eye on things from the lookout, was perplexed by the re-emergence of Cell's energy signature. What is Cell doing? Drawing attention to himself right now doesn't make any sense. What is he up to? Piccolo pondered. Bulma rocked baby Trunks in her arms and asked, what's going on down there? It seems Vegeta hasn't managed to screw us over entirely. Cell's shown himself and he hasn't obtained the other android, replied Piccolo. Bulma yelled, my son is going to bash the monster good. Who needs Vegeta? Gwa. Infant Trunks exclaimed in agreement. Maybe, Piccolo whispered, but for us, things rarely work out that way. I'm afraid the worst is still to come. The other father-son team will probably bear the brunt of this conflict. Dr. Brief sipped his cappuccino once more before re-examining the computer. Fascinating. Naruto looked over his shoulder at the monitor and remarked, you know, high-definition Bang Bros would be awesome on that monitor. Yes, it would, the doctor said, gaining a detached expression before abruptly coming to and blushing profusely. Naruto. Well, with the battle I wasn't expecting. When Mrs. Brief saw Naruto, she stuck her head through the door and scowled in disappointment. Honey, I've got the popcorn, she exclaimed. Oh darn, we've got company. I'll start the movie without you in the living room. Dr. Brief said, well, what can I do you for my boy? I need you to run some simulations based on Dr. Gero's data, said Naruto. What of? Dr. Briefs inquired. Naruto answered, I would like to know what would happen if Cell becomes complete. A sudden paleness struck the doctor, who said, oh boy, let's hope it doesn't come to that. It's that bad. See for yourself. By the time Trunks, Krillin, and Tien arrived at Cell's location, he had successfully destroyed all but one neighboring island. Great. They must be hiding on this final island. All I have to do now is have these idiots finish the rest of my work. As he turned to face the arriving group, Cell thought the first to arrive was Trunks, who stared down at him while the other gave them room with a yell. Trunks changed into a Super Saiyan, his anger barely contained. His aura flared as his power increased and his muscles bulged as he ascended even higher. Cell, your days of terrorizing the Earth are over. You've not only ruined the Earth in your own time, but are trying to destroy this one as well. I won't let that happen. Foolish boy. I've destroyed you once before and I can do it again, laughed Cell. Everything I've experienced has led me to this particular moment. After all the hardships I endured in my own timeline, it was almost inevitable that I would encounter a creature that ruined another future in order to preserve this one. I won't disappoint those who have sacrificed so much for me to get this far. Trunks disappeared and then resurfaced in front of Cell, slamming a powerful right hook into the android's face after nailing Cell in the chest with a spinning kick. He grabbed the massive android Fred by the tail and slammed him to the ground. Cell slowly got back up on his feet, breathing a little more heavily, but otherwise unharmed. It will take more than that to defeat me, young Trunks, Cell said coolly. Don't fool yourself, you could hardly keep up, Trunks snorted. Is that so? Cell asked as he abruptly disappeared and then reappeared in front of Trunks, aiming a left-handed blow before Trunks caught his fist in time. Fortunately, I was also holding back while he was. Trunks thought as he increased his power even further. That's it, boy, just concentrate on me, Cell thought as he swung his right fist around, but it was also caught. Trunks began to easily push the enormous beast back as the two engaged in a power struggle to push each other back. Cell attempted to sweep kick the Super Saiyan after releasing from the grapple. Trunks jumped over the assault and launched an energy blast, which the Cell rolled away from. Trunks easily blocked the green android's attempt to kick him again after his back flipped into the air, then grabbed his leg and slammed him into the ground again. Their blows reverberated throughout the area as the fierce hand-to-hand fighting continued. To Trunks' delight, he continued to dominate the conflict and consistently outmaneuvered the android. This fight? How is it possible? That kid wasn't anywhere close to my level and now he's picking apart Cell like it's nothing, shouted 18. 16 said, Cell has yet to reveal his full power. Even so, I doubt he'd be stronger than this guy. Look at him go. She responded. The two were so focused on the battle that they were unaware of the shadow coming until the assailant was directly on top of them. Cell's voice roared, you're right, that's why I've come for you. When the android pair looked up, they saw Cell's ravenous eyes and his tail slapping down to seize 18. Damn him. He has applied the multiform method. 17 would allow him to fight at nearly maximum power while still letting his copy run loose and look for us, 16 thought. Screaming, "Back off you creep!" 18 clutched the tail's funnel's edges over her head, trying to find a way out. 16 roared, "I won't let you," before charging and knocking 18 out of his way. Betzel's expanded funnel tail ended up clamping down over 16 instead of saving 18. 18 screamed, "16, no," as she saw her friend being sucked up. "You fool!" yelled Cell aggravatingly. Even though 16 was undoubtedly stronger than 18, he was unsure if he would finish evolving if he absorbed the larger android. As he observed the outcomes of Cell's full evolution, Naruto exclaimed, "How is this possible? The first jump was somewhat expected, but this is ridiculous." Yes, you see, the first evolution has a linear increase in power, but once he becomes complete the increase is exponential from what you've told me. His current strength levels are even greater than what Dr. Gero anticipated, said Dr. Briefs. "We've been going about this all wrong. The minute Cell showed up, we should put the androids under our protection. At the time Cell becoming complete seemed at worst a minor inconvenience. A stronger opponent, but only one battle. The androids have turned out to really be a nuisance at worst, but Cell," Dr. Briefs concluded, "is possibly a threat to the entire space-time continuum. It's not too late, is it? Surely you could find the last android and hide her away until Cell is destroyed." When he discovered several signatures for Cell around the area, Naruto expanded his senses in search of the fight between Cell and Trunks. As a reference point, a smile appeared on his face and he said, "Yes, and Cell's already done most of the work for me." He shouted, "Damn it! I might already be too late," and disappeared. "Looks like I'll have to sit this one out, dear. The fate of the world could be at stake." Dr. Brief sighed, leaned over, and pressed the intercom button. He then took a long sip of his cappuccino, went back to his computer, and began typing frantically. "If that old fool can build warriors from scratch that are this powerful, there must be something I can do using his work to enhance the fighters we already have." "What are you staring at, freak? Haven't you done enough already?" 18 said, unnerved by the barely controlled joy the Cell copy was giving her as she watched 16's absorption. From behind her, the menacing voice of Cell said, "Don't be so sad, 18, you'll soon be joining him." She turned to see another Cell, his tail spread wide, towering over her. It always pays to have contingency plan. "I've already escaped so many times." This 18 closed her eyes, resigning herself to her fate, but rather than feeling the tail clamp down on her, she was struck by a blow that sent her racing across the ground. The Cell copy saw his tail clamp down over Naruto rather than 18 and screamed, "No! You stupid boy!" Naruto struggled in vain to free himself, with the tail lowered to his upper torso. His right side abruptly turned blue at the last second, and then he grabbed his stomach, causing his body to go limp. The lump of his entire body moved into Cell's body's core at the base of his tail, swallowing him whole. The same state was attained by the Cell-absorbing android 16 as well, and both bodies abruptly glowed white before recombining to form one. Before disappearing from his position and blending into what was now a massive ball of brilliant white light, the Cells fighting Trunks also glowed white. The light abruptly emitted a backlash of energy that knocked everyone nearby back a few feet, unaware of anyone or anything else. 18 drifted back towards the 3Z fighters, still in shock, and could only watch in horror as Cell change. "What the hell is going on? Cell didn't get 18, how is he outputting this kind of power?" said Trunks. He found it incomprehensible that while he had Cell in his sights one moment, everything seemed to have changed. "Oh man. It looks like he got the big guy, and someone else. Somebody appeared out thin air and prevented 18 from being sucked in after the big one saved her the first time. The only problem is they got caught themselves. I saw him reappear up above everyone at first, before he vanished and saved her," shouted Tien. "Damn it." Krillin swore Trunks saw 18 drifting toward them. That could have been Goku, Gohan, or Naruto. All choices equally bad for Cell getting their power. "What's the point of saving her, if he gets just as strong without her?" Trunks said. Trunks demanded, "Hey, who the hell did he absorb?" "It was Naruto," she said quietly, still in disbelief over what had happened. Suddenly, as the energy's color changed from white to green, Cell's roars could be heard reverberating throughout the clearing. Krillin looked incredulously at the throbbing mass of energy and exclaimed, "Well, this, lady and gents, this the proverbial shit hitting the fan. We can't even see his body. That green energy is acting like a barrier," said Tien. "I say we try to destroy him before he completes his transformation. Between all of us, we should definitely be able to break through that barrier," said Trunks. "You will do no such thing," they all exclaimed as Vegeta entered the frame. "This is my battle, the ultimate challenge." Tien thought, Yeah, you already look like you're out of breath from just flying here. Damn it. Father, disregard him. I'll take him out if he stands in our way. Put all of your energy into this now, Trunks commanded as he increased his power. Trunks pushed on determinedly as he continued to power up to the highest levels of his ascended Saiyan form. The wind blew violently, and the dark clouds swirled around. The ocean's waves slammed into rocks, and various whirlpools swirled chaotically. The sound of thunder crackled in the background, and lightning flashed across the sky as if the eternal dragon had been summoned. Get up, brat. You're not going to be a coward. Vegeta yelled. The Saiyan prince was both pleased and irritated that his son had attained his level of strength. As his energy level continued to increase, Trunks thought, I know you too well, father. You will let me do what needs to be done. Think of it this way, father. If Cell can't withstand such an attack, he doesn't deserve to fight you. Vegeta complained dissatisfiedly, alright, Cell. Trunks, show me what you've got, so I can crush it with my own hands. Krillin whispered, come on, as he directed his energy toward a Kamehameha that was beginning to form. As he charged a tri-beam attack, Tien thought, this might be our last chance. I'll give it everything I have, but most of this hinges on you, Trunks. As she sensed the power emanating from the 3Z fighters, 18 whispered, could this actually work? Trunks saw her simply standing there, gazing at them with wonder. Will you simply stand there? Trunks barked. What? She answered. Those two gave their lives to ensure your survival. Will you squander it, or put this nightmare to rest? He yelled. As she fell in line with the three, she remarked, I have nothing to lose. Vegeta turned back to the transforming cell and muttered, not like she'll make much of difference. As Krillin sensed 18's power flare, he thought, I'll give him one thing, he's one hell of a leader. As he transitioned from his ascended Saiyan form into an Ultra Super Saiyan, Trunks' power was already soaring. His skin turned a light reddish tint, and his muscles grew to absurd proportions. Electric shocks crackled around his golden aura, enveloping him in a massive dome of energy. This is it. Give it your all, Trunks gave his allies encouragement. At the same time, they thought, here we go. Kamehameha. Krillin screamed, letting loose the wave of blue energy. Tri-beam. Haha. Tien let out his blast and roared. As she fired, 18 just glared down at her target. HAAAA. The Z fighters and 18 were higher in the sky, so when the attack struck, the blast pushed the orb of energy containing Cell downwards towards the island below at an angle. Trunks dug into his reserves as he searched for that extra burst of energy that could push them over the top. Rumbled Trunks as he unleashed his heat dome attack. The three lesser attacks combined with Trunks' giant energy beam on a collision course with the energy barrier containing the transforming Cell. Trunks mumbled, come on, as he conjured up a final surge of power that rushed through the energy blast and caused a huge explosion where it touched the barrier. Piccolo lost Cell's energy signature at the time of the explosion, and a brief glimmer of hope briefly entered his typically gloomy perspective. Were they able to accomplish it? Piccolo mumbled. What's happening? Bulma inquired. It could have been them, Piccolo replied. I can't feel Cell's energy anywhere. Yes, Trunks would do it, I promised, Bulma cheered. Gwa. They didn't have this kind of luck, Baby Trunks yelled in agreement. The seemingly hurried celebration of mother and son made Piccolo stifle any hopeful thoughts. Victory was never as simple as this one seemed to be. Cell being defeated moments after possibly gaining enough power to become complete. Slow down. All I said was that they may have done it. This may also be due to the transformation of the Cell. An irritated Piccolo yelled, making Baby Trunks cry. In an attempt to soothe Trunks, Bulma rocked him and grumbled, sheesh, you don't have to be so mean about it. Anyway, there's nothing to be pleased about. We don't have any Dragon Balls to wish anyone back, and we lost Naruto in the process of whatever just happened, said Piccolo. Unsure of what to say, she muttered, well damn. With so much smoke and debris blowing around, it was a matter of wait and see. The ruckus explosion vaporized a large portion of the island, and Trunks angled the blast so that the impact of the explosion wouldn't have a negative effect on the entire planet. Have we gotten him? As he shielded himself with his arm, Krillin gasped, breathing heavily. Nothing could have made it through that. Did you not sense the force with which Trunks anchored that blast? Tien cried out. Yes, Trunks, you were amazing, Krillin cheered. The praise was disregarded by Trunks, who had reverted to his ascended Super Saiyan form and was still looking solemnly into the smoke. Stop talking, Baldy. Something's still down there, Vegeta snarled as his eyes searched for what might be beneath the smoke. You guys worry too much, there's no way anything could have survived that, Krillin said, dismissing their worries. Coldly, 18 shot back, fool, Cell's energy signal didn't die. It certainly did. Nowhere can I feel it, Krillin screamed in frustration. She is correct, Krillin, his energy signal changed, then disappeared. We arrived too late, Trunks said. From the smoke cloud hovering beneath them, a fresh voice said, you couldn't have burst through that containment field anyway. Cell, snarled 18 as she gazed at his new body with disdain. The once beast-like android had changed into a much more human-like figure. His hands and face were smaller and sleeker than in his previous bulky form, and he had 2 orange lines down the side of his face with black markings that resembled tiger strips running across them. The orange line across his chin had turned red, and his eyes were pink with a slitted pupil. Cell chuckled lightly at her expression, saying, don't be so bitter, 18. I suppose you were disappointed that I have all the parts one required to finish from Naruto, and 16. The fact that their energies resonated so strongly with one another allowed my body to extract the mechanical and biological elements required for my ultimate evolution, which was a true stroke of luck. You will now die at my hands, even though you could have been a part of perfection and lived forever at the age of 18. You're a blustery bastard, aren't you? That kind of sucking up 2 weaklings couldn't have done you much. Vegeta made fun of me, saying, you should have come after me if you wanted the real goods. Oh, the traditional Vegeta, you want to be the first to question my flawless form, I guess? An uncannily quiet Cell asked. With one of his trademark smirks, Vegeta boasted, the first and the last. Once I'm done you'll be nothing more than a smear on the bottom of my boots. Well, you've definitely made progress. I find these new abilities of yours and Trunks fascinating. A father-son tag team, perhaps? The Saiyan Prince became enraged when Cell made this suggestion. I don't require the brat's help, Vegeta responded. I'll take care of you myself, because she found the concept disgusting. Show me, Vegeta, please. Show me the Saiyan Prince's strength, Cell called out, gesturing with a beckoning gesture. Happy, Vegeta exclaimed with delight, but Trunks restrained her. Papa, you ought to step aside. You're not going to win, Trunks said gravely. Vegeta, annoyed at being interrupted, growled, boy, you better watch your mouth, or I'll make you regret it. Trunks refused to give up, saying, you can't beat him. Get out of here and let me take care of this. What a dumb boy. The only person who can beat him is me. There is no one like me now that I am an ascended Saiyan. Not Kakarot, not Cell, and most definitely not you, Vegeta screamed. At his father's stupidity, Trunks shook his head and said, you just don't get it, do you? Okay, go ahead. You stupid boy. I'm sure you think I'm exhausted from my last battle. Nothing happened. I even got the woman's new sensu formula from that blonde punk. I've never been better, Vegeta declared. Sensu formula? Krillin and Tien thought at the same time, both bewildered. I assumed so, Trunks thought. Know this, boy. You're the next in line when I finish with Cell. Vegeta turned to Cell and said, come on, you overgrown insect, it looks like you need some lessons in respect. Let's move this show along. Vegeta, by all means. Vegeta charged Cell, aiming a kick to his neck that was a direct hit. But Cell was unfazed. Vegeta grunted and then followed up with a series of punches that all landed but had no effect on Cell. Disappointed, Vegeta fired off a ki blast at point-blank range, which Cell did nothing to stop, and it exploded right in his face. Go right ahead, Cell said with a beckoning motion. Vegeta frowned and scoffed, how do you like that? This is the perfect body, Cell said, blowing away the smoke and debris around him with a little burst of energy before testing out his new body with some phantom punches and kicks. I really can't comment much on it, considering I didn't even feel it. Vegeta, is that the best you can do? Vegeta smirked as he started to laugh, clenching his fists in a growl at the insult. You had better have worked out all the kinks already, he said. You'll find it difficult to keep up once I use all of my strength. Is that true? As he kept kicking and punching, Cell responded nonchalantly. After I've crushed you, don't come pleading for forgiveness. Vegeta squatted and began to try to power up, his aura flaming violently as the veins on his forehead and neck bulged as the ascended Saiyan attempted to use all of his energy, but he was unable to control it and found himself losing strength. Vegeta was furious and thought, what is the meaning of this? Why can't I tap into my power? Is this the actual power of Vegeta that you mentioned? Cell sneered. He fought to control his power, but Vegeta ignored him. I remember asking myself why Naruto was being so nice when he volunteered to take you a sensu bean, Trunks said, adding, it won't do you any good. You ended up with a sensu formula. Even though I gave him a regular sensu bean to take to you, this sensu formula was most likely just a sensu bean combined with whatever mixture he came up with to remove you from the battle, especially considering that his energy signature disappeared to a distant place before moving in next to yours when he left us to go find you. Vegeta was enraged and barely contained by this point. That idiot, what a jerk he is. Don't get so bent out of shape, Vegeta. Turnabout is fair play, laughed Krillin. Stop talking, Baldy. I still have the strength to send you into the next dimension, Vegeta roared. Vegeta turned to shout at his son, but he was holding out a sensu bean. No worries, Dad. I do have one sensu bean left, Vegeta said. If you play this my way, we'll split it. Angry at being pushed into the circumstance, Vegeta thought, damn him, alright, I'll do it. Now, move quickly. With a smile, Trunks flipped it into his mouth and ate it, rather than slicing it in half as he had agreed to.
So that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel for more awesome stories like this. Thank you. See you all in my next video.